Breaking news. A catastrophic crash on the Shangjing elevated highway has killed the chairman of an corporation and his wife. Their son is in a coma, fighting for his life. Their daughter is still missing. The cause is under investigation. Stay tuned. Tsangming Island. The headquarters of the Faceless, a top-tier assassin organization. The floor was littered with guns and spent shell casings. Bodies lay scattered in pools of blood. The leader of the Faceless, beaten and blooded, was pinned beneath a girl's foot. His eyes bulged, and he roared, 17, I trained you, I made you a top assassin, you can't kill me. The girl's white dress was filthy with gore. Dried blood streaked her face, but beneath it, her features were pure and devastatingly beautiful. She ground her heel deeper into the leader's cheek, her gaze like ice. You controlled us, forced us into evil. If I don't kill you, heaven itself won't forgive it. She drove her fist into his temple. His skull caved in, his eyes went wide, blood oozing from every orifice as he died without a struggle. 20-some assassins stood frozen, staring at her in shock. She'd taken down the leader and over a dozen of his best men alone. Too strong to comprehend. One of them dropped to his knees in submission. 17. From now on, you're our leader. The others followed, kneeling one by one. Leader. 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 The girl wiped the blood from her face. Her beautiful eyes were as sharp as sheathed blades. She was finally free. Now it was time to settle old scores. Nightfall. The most extravagant bar in the capital. A gilded den of sin, a place to drown every sorrow. A girl in a simple white dress stepped inside. Phone pressed to her ear. Skin like snow, bright eyes, and a clean, innocent beauty. Boss, we've got him. Room 666. Her lips curved into a cold smile. I'm here. On my way. She was an Ruoxi. Once the heiress of an corporation. 4 years ago, her parents were murdered in a staged car accident. Her brother was left in a vegetative state. Tonight, the man who sabotaged the car had finally been caught. She ended the call. Her canvas sneakers landed on the bar's expensive black agate stairs. Her angelic appearance clashed with the decadence around her, but the coldness in her eyes dimmed every light. Soon, she reached room 666. Something was off about the number plate. Too eager to face the man inside, she didn't stop. She pushed the door open. The thick stench of blood hit her instantly. Years of training screamed danger, and she spun to leave. But a powerful hand clamped around her wrist, yanking her inside. The door slammed shut with a heavy thud. A tall man pinned her by the throat, immobilizing her. Her hands clenched into fists, knuckles white from the strain, but she forced herself to relax. Not the time to act reckless. 6 bodies lay sprawled across the floor, all dead, blood pooling everywhere. On a velvet armchair against the wall sat a man. Sharp brow bones, chiseled features, a face carved like a work of art. He crossed his legs with restrained elegance, a black gold ring gleaming coldly on his left index finger. In the dim light, he looked like a demon king born from darkness, radiating a sinister, untamed arrogance. Ruoxi's brows drew together almost imperceptibly. She didn't recognize the man, but she recognized that ring.it belonged to the sovereign of the Xiao Corporation, the empire's most powerful financial conglomerate. Rumor said the head of the Xiao family had killed his own parents at age 8 at T22. He'd carved a bloody path to seize control of the corporation, ruthless, decisive, merciless. The most dangerous man in the entire empire. Great. Just great. She'd been back less than a day and she'd already run into death himself. Beside him, a man in a suit and gold-rimmed glasses, hair slicked back with gel, bowed slightly. Mr. Xiao, what should we do with her? The man in the chair let his narrow eyes drift lazily over, and Ruoxi, even sitting, he radiated a commanding, judgmental presence, his lips parted, a flicker of cruelty in his eyes. Kill her. The man with glasses gave a nod to the one holding an Ruoxi. The grip on her throat tightened. Wait, she forced the word out. The man with glasses hesitated, then waved his hand. The pressure on her throat eased slightly. She sucked in a desperate breath and quickly put on a pitiful, innocent expression. Sir, I'm here to meet a friend. I swear I won't say a word about what happened tonight. She raised her right hand and held up 3 fingers for emphasis. She wasn't afraid of these people. The ones in this room wouldn't even amount to a snack for her. But this man named Xiao, she did not want to mess with him. She had revenge to finish. Tangling with him would be one giant headache. The man twisted the ring on his finger, a cold smile playing on his lips, but his whole being radiated menace. Only the dead keep secrets. As soon as he spoke, a suffocating pressure slammed into an Ruoxi. Her porcelain face flushed red. She clawed at the hand around her throat, struggling for air. Clearly, reasoning with this bloodthirsty devil was pointless. She needed another way out. An idea sparked. She forced out the words one by one. I have a rare blood type. The seated man's eyes flickered with murderous interest. He rose slowly and walked toward her. His tall, imposing frame loomed over her like a shadow. He raised his right index finger and flicked it. The hand around her neck vanished instantly. Then his own hand closed around her throat. Damn it. If it weren't for the trouble it would bring, she'd break every hand that ever touched her. He looked down at her with a vicious, unnerving intensity. Who sent you? She could feel it. This grip was far more dangerous than the last .1 wrong word, and this terrifying man would crush her slender neck to dust. She was beyond annoyed. Couldn't he just pretend he'd never seen her? He'd killed plenty of people before. But her life was on the line, so she scrambled for any lifeline. Her mind raced. How could she erase his suspicion? Then it hit her. Her eyes reddened, filling with tears. She reached up and gripped his arm with soft, boneless hands. Mr. Xiao, I'm your admirer. For years ago, my brother was hospitalized after a car accident. I was taking care of him. You were injured too, in the same hospital that I saw you by accident, and I fell in love at first sight. When the doctor said you had a rare blood type, I even donated a bag of blood to you. Today, I really did just come to meet a friend. I walked into your room by mistake. Don't you think this is fate? Surely a man wouldn't slit the throat of someone who admired him, someone who'd once saved him. The hand around her neck loosened a fraction. 4 years ago, he had been hospitalized for an injury. He looked down at the girl. Her eyes were watery, clear, seemingly honest. An admirer, rare blood type? Interesting. He released her throat. A glint of curiosity sparked in his dark eyes. Not a bad blood bag. He turned to the suited man. Take her to Taiping Mountain. What? And Ruoxi froze. What did he mean by that? Before she could react, he leaned close to her ear, his voice dropped low and ominous, like a curse from the abyss. Let me introduce myself. My name is Xiao Yuan, Yuan as in abyss. Welcome to my world. He was so near that she could see the black tattoo on the back of his neck. An inverted cross. Her breath caught. The black inverted cross, the symbol of Satan, evil, misfortune, depravity. And the refusal of redemption. The silver-grey Koenigsegg tore through the city streets. Xiao Yuan sat in the passenger seat, arms crossed, eyes shut, stealing a moment of rest. The car's soft ambient light carved shadows along his sharp jawline, radiating a cold, untouchable presence. The man driving wore a tailored suit and gold-rimmed glasses. His name was Xu Yize, Xiao Yuan's assistant. He glanced sideways at the man beside him. Even with his eyes closed, Xiao Yuan's commanding aura was undeniable. Xu Yize knew he wasn't asleep. So he spoke quietly. CEO Xiao, I can't shake the feeling that girl's bad news. Xiao Yuan's eyes opened slowly. In the dim light, a cold glint flickered. A playful smirk tugged at the corner of his mouth. That little thing hasn't spoken a single honest word. She looked weak and innocent on the surface, but when she'd walked into a room full of bodies, she didn't even blink. Normal girls would scream, cry, or pass out at a scene that bloody, but she stayed eerily calm. Even with his hand around her throat, those beautiful eyes were busy assessing the situation. Xu Yize sounded surprised. Then why did you let her into Taiping Mountain? Taiping Mountain was Xiao Yuan's home. Wasn't that just asking for trouble? Xiao Yuan tilted his head, a lazy, careless expression crossing his face. Keep your enemies close, and you'll see their real intentions. He wanted to find out exactly what she was after by getting near him. Xu Yize's face tensed. But that's too dangerous. Xiao Yuan had made too many enemies. For all they knew, this could be some rival seduction trap. History proved seduction was the deadliest weapon, but Xiao Yuan looked completely unconcerned, his voice relaxed. Dangerous? He loved a high-stakes challenge. Taiping Mountain rose to the east, the tallest peak in the capital. From the summit, you could see the entire city sprawled below. And Ruoxi was escorted up by the mercenaries. She stared at the brilliantly lit golden complex in front of her. Against the pitch-black night sky, it gleamed like a jewel set on the eastern edge of the capital. Even during the incorporation's glory days, they couldn't have bought an entire mountain. She'd been right not to provoke Xiao Yuan today. The empire was controlled by 6 major conglomerates. The Xiao Corporation used to rank at the bottom, but Xiao Yuan took over at 22, and he was only 25 now. In 3 years, he'd amassed this kind of wealth. This man was even more terrifying than she'd realized as she was processing that. A sports car's roar echoed in the distance. Moments later, a brand new Koenigsegg pulled up beside her. Xiao Yuan climbed out of the passenger side. The night wind swept through, ruffling a strand of hair across his forehead, making him look even more wild and untamed. He had that cool porcelain skin, sharp features, and deep-set eyes. In the shadowy darkness, he looked almost godlike when he caught an Ruoxi staring at him, frozen, his lips parted slightly. Shocked you'll be living with me? And Ruoxi instantly deflated. Godlike? Yeah, right. Insufferable narcissist. Xiao Yuan walked inside without waiting. Wherever he went, the doors slid open automatically. But Ruoxi stayed rooted to the ground. She had a feeling that once she stepped inside, getting out would be impossible. She still had something critical to do. She couldn't afford to get trapped here. When Xiao Yuan didn't hear footsteps behind him, he turned around, his voice dark with impatience. "Should I have you knocked out and carried in?" Ruoxi gritted her teeth and followed quickly. "Just you wait." They entered the main house. The moment they stepped through the door, dozens of servants stood lined up on both sides in an elaborate display. When they saw Xiao Yuan, they all bowed deeply. "Mr. Xiao." Xiao Yuan walked in with a blank expression and Ruoxi followed, visibly annoyed. It was probably the first time Xiao Yuan had ever brought a woman home, because the servants' eyes widened with surprise when they saw her. But anyone working in Xiao Yuan's house had gone through rigorous training. In a heartbeat, their faces went neutral again, as if they hadn't seen a thing. A woman in her 50s, dressed elegantly, approached them with a warm smile. "Ah Yuan, you're back." Xiao Yuan gave a slight nod. Wu Ma, set up a room for her. Only then did Wu Ma notice Ruoxi behind him. A flash of surprise crossed her eyes before she smiled. "Of course." Xiao Yuan said nothing else. He walked to the elevator and went upstairs alone. Wu Ma came up to Ruoxi. "What should I call you, miss?" Ruoxi was already irritated about being forced to stay. She replied coldly, "Ruoxi." At her impatient tone, Wu Ma's eyes flickered. "Follow me." Ruoxi followed her to the third floor. Wu Ma pointed to a door. "You'll stay here." Ruoxi was in a rush to make a call, so she didn't respond. She twisted the handle, stepped in, and slammed the door with a bang. Wu Ma stared at the closed door, her expression shifting instantly. She spat to the side, her look turning haughty. "TCH, who does she think she is?" She rolled her eyes and stormed off inside the room, Ruoxi immediately pulled out her phone and dialed. "Hey, Xiao Liu." A loud voice came through the line. "Boss, why aren't you here yet? I've been waiting so long I'm wilting." Ruoxi was irritated. "Are you sure you're in room 666? Xiao Liu paused. "Yeah, that's right. I just checked again." Ruoxi thought back to the first door she'd shoved open, and no wonder that 666 had looked a little off. She guessed Xiao Yuan's room had been 999. During the fight, they must have slammed against the door and knocked a number loose, turning it into 666. Some high-end bar, with door numbers that flimsy. Next time, she'd just burn the place down. Ruined her whole plan. Her voice turned cold. "Hold that person for now. Wait for my call." Xiao Liu sounded confused. "Boss, what happened?" Ruoxi frowned. "I got locked up by some idiot." Xiao Liu immediately bristled. "Damn, who's got the nerve to lock you up? Aren't they scared of your fists?" Ruoxi rubbed her temples. Her head was throbbing. "I'll tell you later. Wait for my call." She hung up without another word. After the call, she flung herself onto the bed and stared blankly at the ceiling. She had to find a way out. She got up and walked to the room's balcony. It was a huge open terrace. From here, she could see the entire capital at night. Brilliant lights sparkled like stars. Breathtaking for a moment, and Ruoxi forgot to think. She sat down on a rattan chair and stared in one direction. Over there was the in-family home, her home, but everything had changed. Her parents were gone, her home was gone. She hugged her knees, looking toward the house, and slowly her eyes turned red. She stayed like that deep into the night, and Ruoxi couldn't sleep at all. She remembered when she was little, how she'd played too hard during the day and couldn't fall asleep at night. Her mother would sit by the bed, hold her, and sing a lullaby. The tune still echoed in her ears. She found herself humming softly, "Little one, go to sleep soon, I'll be with you in your dreams, laugh with you, share your tears, I'll always be near, little one, go to sleep soon, how many times will you dream of me, with me, dreams are sweetest and comfort you when you wake." Next door, in the master bedroom, Xiao Yuan lay in bed with his eyes closed. He suffered from severe insomnia and relied on medication to fall asleep. But tonight, for some reason, even after taking his pill, sleep refused to come. Suddenly, a soft, melodic voice drifted into his ears. "Little one, go to sleep soon, I'll be with you in your dreams." He slowly curled his body, like a child in the womb. In his sleep, a trace of wetness gathered at the corner of his eyes. "Mom!" And Xioli didn't sleep. Not a single minute. By the time dawn broke, she was so hungry she felt hollow inside. Food now. She took the elevator down to the first floor and stopped one of the maids. "Is there food?" The maid's gaze slid sideways. I'm not sure, miss." And Xioli frowned. What kind of answer was that? Either there was food or there wasn't. She glanced around the room. Every servant she made eye contact with flinched and looked away, suddenly deeply involved in polishing silverware that already sparkled. What the hell was going on? She tried again, voice tighter now. "Where's the kitchen?" Silence. Not one of them would look at her, let alone answer. Fine. She'd find it herself. She scanned the vast space, picked a direction that looked promising, and started walking. In the shadows of the hallway, Wang Wanjuan stood with her arms crossed, watching Xioli's retreating figure with cold satisfaction. A servant scurried over, posture rigid. "Wang Wanjuan, isn't this going too far? What if young Master Xiao finds out?" Wang Wanjuan let out a contemptuous snort. "What are you afraid of? I'm right here. I raised that boy. You think he'd side with some outsider over me? Besides, she'd listened at the door last night. Separate bedrooms. Xiao Yi never brought women home, never touched them. And from the way he'd acted, he wasn't particularly interested in this one either, some nobody. But that nobody had dared to give her attitude yesterday. Well, the girl would learn soon enough who actually ran this house. It took Xioli forever to find the kitchen. The house was absurdly huge, easily twice the size of the in-family estate. Who lived like this, rattling around in a mansion this big by themselves? Weren't they afraid of ghosts? She muttered under her breath as she rifled through the cabinets. Finally, she found a packet of noodles. The fridge had eggs, pork, vegetables. Good enough. She threw together a steaming bowl of egg and shredded pork noodles, tossed in a handful of greens for color. It looked perfect, smelled even better. Pleased with herself, she carried the bowl to the dining room and froze. The main table was spread with a full breakfast, plates gleaming. Food untouched, as though this wasn't the main kitchen she'd been in. No wonder the one she'd found was so cramped. The servant's kitchen, probably, only one place setting, though Xiao Yi's so rich, yet so damn stingy. Whatever, who wanted his food anyway? She muttered something rude, went back to the little kitchen for chopsticks, and returned, practically buzzing with anticipation. Her noodles had a new owner. Xiao Yi sat in her spot, her fork in his hand. He was about to take the first bite. She reached out. "Hey, those are mine." He lifted his eyes to hers. Something flickered there, amusement, maybe rare on that cold face. "Making me noodles first thing in the morning?" He twirled a bite onto the fork. "Not bad." He ate, slurped, even, and somehow, on him, the cheap bowl of noodles still looked refined. Like he'd elevated it to haute cuisine just by touching it. And Shirley's fists clenched at her sides. A full breakfast spread sitting right there, and he steals the one bowl I spent all that time making? He took a few more bites, then glanced up as if he'd only just noticed her still standing there. "Sit. I'll allow you to have breakfast with me." Allow me? Furious, and Shirley dropped into the chair farthest from him and snatched a sandwich, biting down hard. Hell, it was good. She was too hungry to stay angry, so she let herself enjoy it, eating with an enthusiasm she didn't bother to hide. Xiao Yi finished the noodles, every last strand. Then he drank the broth, set down the bowl, and wiped his mouth with a napkin so white it practically glowed. Just average. She stared at the empty bowl, broth and all, and rolled her eyes so hard she nearly gave herself a headache. Who finishes a bowl of just average noodles? Why didn't he choke? She was almost done anyway. She grabbed her milk and took a long swallow. Xiao Yi's attention drifted to the milk mustache above her lip. Her skin was fair, delicate, clear, bright eyes, that innocent, unguarded look, paired with the milk mustache, something about it snagged his attention. His Adam's apple moved, his dark gaze shifted. "Don't get any ideas about seducing me. I'm not interested." And Shirley blinked. Was this guy clinically insane? What had she even done? She needed to get out of this room, away from him, because right now she was genuinely afraid she might punch his head clean off. Xiao Yi stood, took 2 steps toward the door, then paused, turning back, his eyes going sharp and cold. "Stay put. If you try to run, I'll break both your legs." She ground her teeth together and smiled. A tight, plastic smile. "Of course, Mr. Xiao." Her docile obedience seemed to please him. The corner of his mouth tugged upward. "Behave yourself, and I might consider giving you a chance." Then he was gone. A moment later, the roar of a sports car tore through the morning quiet outside, and Shirley sat there, processing. A chance. By chance? Did he mean a chance to be with him? Oh my God, what had she gotten herself into? C Corporation. The tallest building in the capital. Dark blue tempered glass sheathed every inch of it, catching the sun and gleaming cold and untouchable. Xiao Yi walked into his office. Xie Mingyu was already waiting. Xiao Yi settled into his chair. His secretary materialized with a cup of strong black coffee. He waved it away. "Not today." The secretary withdrew. Xie Mingyu's eyebrow lifted. Xiao Yi usually needed the strongest coffee he could get just to pry his eyes open after a night of chronic insomnia. Looked like he'd slept well. Xie Mingyu stepped forward. We have intel on the assassins from last night. Xiao Yi leaned back, posture lazy, but his eyes were razor sharp. Who sent them? We haven't traced the mastermind yet, but the hitmen were Blood Moon. Their fees are astronomical. There aren't many people with both a grudge against you and the kind of money it takes to hire that many of them at once. Something cruel and cold moved through Xiao Yi's eyes. Keep digging. 6 top-tier killers, sent all at once. Someone was in a hurry to put him in the ground. He'd love to find out who was so eager to meet their own end instead. Xie Mingyu wasn't finished. About the girl from last night. I found some things. Xiao Yi's interest sharpened. That fast? Good. Xie Mingyu set a slim file on the desk. And surely 20 years old, daughter of old master and former chairman of the IN Group. 4 years ago, after the IN family car accident, you happened to be in the same hospital with a gunshot wound. She was there. She did donate blood to you. But shortly after, she and her comatose brother vanished without a trace. Now she's resurfaced in the capital, but the last 4 years? He shook his head. Completely blank. We can't find a single thing. Blank. Xiao Yi clasped his hands on the desk, a deep, intrigued light kindling in his eyes. Interesting. Xie Mingyu's expression was troubled. Mr. Xiao, Misson probably didn't come back with good intentions. Maybe you should consider letting her leave Taiping Mountain. Xiao Yi raised an eyebrow, the gesture somehow both lazy and predatory. What's the rush? If she wants to play, I'll play with her. The moment Xiao Yi was out of sight, and surely bolted for the master suite on the 3rd floor. She stepped onto the balcony and scanned the grounds below. From this height, she could see nearly every inch of security wrapped around the main building. Taiping Mountain's peak held only one estate, and every visible foot of it crawled with mercenaries. High-end surveillance units sat on top of every structure. Getting out without being seen, not happening. She watched for a long time. No gaps, no blind spots. Frustration simmered low in her chest. Just how many enemies did this guy have, to turn his home into a goddamn fortress? And if she did run, would Xiao Yi hunt her down? A rapid series of beeps cut through her thoughts. She glanced toward the front gate. An idea clicked and surely wandered back downstairs. The living room smelled like lemon polish. Several maids were dusting vases and wiping down every polished wood surface in sight. Her gaze landed on one who looked about her age, carefully. Cleaning a piece of Ming Dynasty porcelain, she walked over and tapped the girl's shoulder. Hey. The maid startled. The vase tipped, her face went pale as it slipped from her fingers and surely lunged, old reflexes firing. She caught the vase an inch before it shattered against the marble floor. The maid let out a shaky breath. She took the vase back with trembling hands, eyes wet with relief. Misson, thank you. Thank you so much. No problem. The maid placed the vase back on its stand with the care of someone defusing a bomb. That piece is worth 3 million. If I had broken it, I couldn't have paid for it even if I sold myself. You seriously saved me. And Xioli tilted her head, and a slow smile curved her lips. Then do me a favor. The maid blinked. What kind of favor? Anything I can do, I'll do it. I'm bored out of my mind. You have a Go set. Come play a game with me. The girl's expression flickered. We have one, but I don't know how to play. Then I'll teach you, just keep me company for a while. The maid's face brightened. Okay. I'll grab it right now. And Shirley returned to her room. A few minutes later, the maid carried in a wooden go board and 2 bowls of stones. She set everything on the coffee table, arranged the pieces neatly, and smiled. Ready when you are, Misson. And Shirley walked over. She didn't sit. What's your name? The maid gave her a simple, honest smile. Chen Yunqing. Something flickered in Shirley's eyes, guilt sharp and fast. Yunqing. I'm sorry. Confusion crossed the girl's face before she could ask. A sharp jolt of pain lanced through the back of her neck. Everything went black. And Shirley caught her before she hit the floor. She pulled a small pill from her pocket and slipped it into the girl's mouth. She'd be out for at least 5 hours. And Shirley worked fast. She stripped off Yunqing's uniform, pulled it on, yanked a face mask over her nose and mouth, and slipped into the hallway. She moved quickly toward the kitchen. A voice called from behind. Yunqing, Aunt Wu's looking for you. She didn't turn. She kept her voice low and raspy. Not feeling well. Tell Aunt Wu I'm leaving. A grumble followed her. That girl's always in a rush. In the kitchen, the delivery driver had just finished unloading the last crate of produce. The kitchen hand tallied it up and clapped him on the shoulder. All here, thanks, Master Zhong. Master Zhong smiled. I'll head out, then. He pulled open the truck door and climbed into the driver's seat. Something cold and hard pressed against his temple. Say a word and you're dead. Drive. Sweat poured down Master Zhong's forehead. His lips quivered. Oh, okay. The truck rolled toward the front gate. Outgoing vehicle. Familiar face. The mercenary barely glanced inside before waving him through. They crept down the mountain road in silence. When a yellow Ferrari appeared on the shoulder, and Shirley said, "Stop." Master Zhong, drenched in sweat, slammed the brakes. She jumped out, slid into the Ferrari's passenger seat, and ripped off the mask. Xiao Liu took one look at the maid's uniform and burst out laughing. Holy shit, boss. Who hired you to scrub floors? Drive, she snapped. I'm on the clock. Xiao Liu flicked his silver hair. You got it, hold tight. The Ferrari screamed off the shoulder and down the road. They pulled up to an old house tucked deep in a quiet neighborhood, isolated by overgrown trees and a long gravel drive. Xiao Liu knocked in a specific rhythm. The door unlocked from inside and Shirley stepped in, cold and silent on the floor. A man in his 40s lay bound, blindfold cinched tight, tape over his mouth, his breathing hitched as footsteps approached. She sat in the chair across from him. Take it off. The guard ripped off the blindfold and tape. Light flooded the man's eyes. He squinted, raising his bound hands to shield his face. When his vision adjusted and landed on the woman sitting in front of him, terror seized his expression. Misson, you're alive. After the crash, she'd vanished. Most of her family's circle assumed she was dead, but this version of the young miss, the naive, bubbly princess everyone remembered, was nowhere in sight. The woman in front of him radiated cold control. Shirley crossed her arms, her gaze cut like glass. What? Hoping I was dead? Panic ripped across his face. He shook his head violently. No, Misson, I'm so glad you're alive. He lifted his bound wrists. Why am I tied up like this? She watched him play innocent, disgust coiling in her throat. Her smile was ice. Uncle Liu, you really don't know what you did. His heart hammered. But he kept his face slack with confusion. He dropped his gaze. Missen. I don't know what you mean. And Xiaoli's eyes went arctic. Xiao Liu couldn't hold back. Oh, you old bastard. Want me to loosen those bones for you before you start talking? He launched in, fists and boots flying. Then Xiaoli didn't flinch. She didn't stop him. She sat perfectly still, watching as Xiao Liu beat the man's face bloody, split his temple open, swelled his nose into a purple, swollen mess. His sobs filled the room. Finally, he broke. Missen. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. They forced me to do it. She leaned forward, voice dropping to a near whisper. Forced you? Uncle Liu, my father trusted you for 20 years. You stood at his side while his body was still warm. You called me family. Tears and blood streaked his face. They threatened my son. They said they'd kill him. And you chose my daughter. Her voice splintered. Just for a breath, you chose to take her from me. He sobbed harder. I had no choice. And Xiaoli stood. She looked down at him the way someone looks at a stain on the floor. You had choices. You just made the wrong one. She nodded to the guard. Keep him breathing. I'm not done with him yet. She walked out without looking back. Xiao Liu fell into step beside her, brushing off his knuckles. What now? Now we figure out who gave the order. He grinned. I was hoping you'd say that. And Xiaoli slid into the passenger seat of the Ferrari and stared out the window as the engine growled to life. Somewhere out there, her daughter was waiting. And for the first time since the crash, she had a thread to pull. She just prayed it wouldn't snap before she reached the end. And Ruoxi stared at the man's swollen, piggish face. Tears, snot, blood, and grime smeared together into something barely human. She felt a flicker of satisfaction, but not much. She stood and walked toward him slowly, her voice pure ice. Uncle Liu. 8 years ago, when your wife was dying of cancer, my father flew in foreign specialists. He spent over 10 million yuan to save her. When your son was 10, he beat a kid so badly the family wanted criminal charges. My father handed you 300,000 to keep him out of juvenile detention. And that house you live in, my father couldn't stand seeing you crammed into that slum, so he gave you a place in the suburbs outright. All these years, has my father ever wronged you? And you tried to murder my entire family. The man collapsed, sobbing and pounding his forehead against the concrete. Miss, I'm sorry. They forced me. They took my son, said if I didn't tamper with the brake lines, they'd kill him. I had no choice. Just the word crash made Ruoxi's lungs seize. The pain twisted through her chest like broken glass. Her pale face went taut, cold fury sharpening every line of her jaw, her eyes. She stopped a few feet from him and looked down with blistering rage. Who sent you? Fear streaked across the man's face. His mouth opened and closed, nothing coming out. Ruoxi's voice dropped, vicious. Refusing to talk until you see the coffin, is that it? Without warning, she crouched and drove the knife straight into his collarbone. Ah! His mangled body convulsed. He screamed, his face draining to chalk-white. Ruoxi twisted the blade, her eyes dark with unforgiving intent. Talk. Who's behind this? The man howled, cold sweat pouring down his face. He was seconds from blacking out. Finally, he broke. It was your uncle and Shangxing. And Ruoxi's grip on the knife slackened. No shock flickered in her expression, no surprise. Just a brief flash of pain that vanished as fast as it came. She rose to her feet. Xiao Liu was already there, pressing a wet wipe into her hand. She cleaned the blood from her fingers, slow and deliberate. After the crash that nearly killed her parents, Uncle and Shangxing had swooped in like a vulture and seized control of the incorporation. He hadn't even bothered to check whether they were alive or dead. She'd already suspected he was the one pulling the strings, but hearing it spoken aloud still twisted the knife deeper, still made her blood boil. Was money truly worth that much? Worth murdering your own brother and his family? The man kept blubbering for mercy. Miss, I was cornered, please, I've got old parents. Young kids, spare my life. I'll pray every single day for your father and mother's souls to find peace. And Ruoxi tossed the blooded wipe onto the floor, her glare freezing enough to cut. So you're innocent, is that it? He nodded frantically. I'm innocent, it's all in Shangxing's fault. And Ruoxi let out a cold, withering laugh, her mouth curving into a cruel smile. Really? Then where'd you get the money to party at a high-end club like Night Tune? The man's body went rigid with terror. Miss, she didn't let him finish. She snatched the gun from Xiao Liu's holster, aimed, and fired. Bang! One shot dead center between the eyes, fast, clean, remorseless. A neat hole opened in his forehead. His eyes stayed wide, frozen in death. And Ruoxi stared down at his horror-struck face. Hatred bleeding from every pore. Don't you dare call me that with your filthy mouth, you make me sick. With the man dealt with, she walked to the window and lifted her gaze to the bright, cloudless sky. It was so clean, so impossibly pure. Even a bird cutting across it felt like a stain on that untouched blue. Her eyes reddened. Her voice splintered. Dad, Mom, did you see? The people who hurt you, I'm sending every last one of them to hell. Xiao Liu was usually all jokes and swagger, but seeing an Ruoxi so wrecked threw him completely. He growled, Boss, don't be like that. Say the word and I'll put that bastard and Shangxing in the ground tomorrow. We'll avenge Mom and Dad. And Ruoxi wiped the corner of her eye and buried the grief. She tossed the gun back to Xiao Liu, her face settling into something still and frozen as a winter lake. Killing them would be a mercy. I'll destroy their reputations, strip them of everything they have. They'll die in pain and they'll die regretting every choice they made. Xiao Liu asked, Boss, what's the plan? I'll walk through fire for you. And Ruoxi stared at that spotless sky overhead. It's time to go meet my heartless uncle face to face. The Imperial Capital was about to be shaken. Taiping Mountain Wu Ma had just risen from her afternoon nap. She lounged on the living room sofa, savoring a bowl of bird's nest soup. An older maid hovered beside her, kneading her shoulders with a fawning smile. Wu Ma, how is it? This is the premium stuff, golden thread blood nest. Wu Ma scooped up another spoonful, letting it sit on her tongue, and nodded with deep approval. Quality really does speak for itself. The maid, seeing her pleased, laid it on thicker. Mr. Xiao is barely ever home. These delicacies just sit in the storeroom going to waste. You practically raised that boy. You're like a second mother to him. It's only right that the finest things make their way to you. Wu Ma shot her a knowing look, eyes smug. Go on, what are you after? The maid grinned. You're sharp as a blade. Wu Ma caught me right away. It's my worthless son, just graduated college and can't find work anywhere. Could you get him a spot doing odd jobs here at Taiping Mountain? Sure, the security was tight and you couldn't exactly come and go, but the pay was 5 times what you'd make outside. A fresh grad pulling in tens of thousands a month. That beat any office job in the city. Wu Ma smirked. That's nothing, wait for my word. The maid's face lit up. Yes, Wu Ma. They were still laughing and chatting when a servant's respectful voice drifted from the doorway. Mr. Xiao. Wu Ma set her bowl down and straightened fast. Tea was barely past 3 in the afternoon. What was Xiao Yuan doing home this early? The thought barely formed when his tall, commanding figure filled the doorway. His lips were pressed into their usual thin line. Even standing still, he radiated cold, like a layer of invisible frost clung to his skin. Wu Ma hurried over, smile fixed. A Yuan, what brings you back so early? Xiao Yuan rarely set foot in the house before midnight. This was a first. His gaze slid toward the staircase, his voice low and chilling. Where is Missen? Wu Ma's heart skipped. Why was he asking about her the second he walked in the door? She forced herself to keep smiling. Upstairs. Something flickered in Xiao Yuan's eyes. His expression darkened further. She hasn't come down all day? Wu Ma glanced at the nearby servant, who stammered, No. She hasn't. Xiao Yuan's eyes turned cold and lethal. Without another word, he strode into the elevator and rode it up to the 3rd floor. He stopped outside an Ruoxi's door. Then he slammed his foot against it. Bang! The door shuddered violently on its hinges, swinging back and forth. Inside, An Ruoxi and Chen Qingqing were mid-go game. The noise sent both of them jolting upright. Chen Qingqing's face went white as paper. Tian Ruoxi took one look at Xiao Yuan's expression, dark as a thunderhead about to split open, and rolled her eyes internally. Good thing she'd made it back in time. Otherwise, this would have been an absolute disaster. Why did she have to get tangled up with this stone-faced nightmare of a man? But she still had a role to play. She pressed a hand to her chest and flinched back, her clear eyes going wide like a startled deer. Mr. Xiao, is something wrong? The moment Xiao Yi saw Wu Jingyi, the tension bled out of his shoulders. He stepped into the room without any rush, his narrow eyes cutting to the half-played chess game on the coffee table. You're playing chess. His voice gave nothing away. No trace of the man who had just kicked the door off its hinges. Wu Jingyi arranged her face into perfect innocence. Yeah. His stare stayed pinned to her sweet, deceptive expression. You skipped lunch. She gave a small nod. Big breakfast. Wasn't hungry by noon. Also, this house wasn't exactly rolling out a welcome mat for her meals. If she wanted food, she had to cook it herself. Way too much hassle. Xiao Yi moved to the chessboard, picked up a black piece, and rolled it between his fingers. The dark stone against his pale, long fingers made a striking contrast. Unexpectedly good to look at. You've been at it this whole time? Wu Jingyi flicked a glance at Chen Yunqing. She doesn't know how to play. I was teaching her. Lost track of time. Chen Yunqing's heart was hammering so hard she thought it might explode. After Miss Wu had knocked her out, She'd barely been unconscious a few minutes before she was shaken awake. The first thing Miss Wu said was, "Help me." Not long after that, Mr. Xiao kicked the door in. She was terrified, but Miss Wu had helped her before. She owed her. Chen Yunqing swallowed hard and nodded fast. Yes, Wu Jingyi could see the girl shaking. If Xiao Yi kept pressing, something would crack. And his whole interrogation routine was really starting to piss her off. She was his blood donor, not his inmate. Before he could fire off another question, she stood and turned to Yunqing. "I'm tired, clear the board." Then she faced Xiao Yi and gave him a tight little smile. "Mr. Xiao, I didn't sleep well last night. I need to rest." Her bright, clear eyes cut toward the door. The hint was not subtle. Xiao Yi studied her for a long moment, his face unreadable. 30 full seconds of silence ticked by while Chen Yunqing gathered up the chess set and slipped out of the room. Then he parted his lips and said a single word. "Fine." The second he was gone, Wu Jingyi shut the door and rolled her eyes at the wood panel. She flopped onto the bed, exhausted, and closed her eyes. She hadn't slept the night before, and today had been nothing but tension and chaos. She was wiped. Xiao Yi left Wu Jingyi's room and headed for the study. Halfway there, something clicked. His eyes went cold, lethal. He pulled out his phone and dialed. "Zhongyu, bring the monitoring equipment, get up here now." Zhongyu ran security for all of Taiping Mountain. Every inch of the hillside fell under his watch. The clipped fury in Xiao Yi's voice made his stomach drop. What the hell happened? Why was the boss this livid? He didn't waste a second. He grabbed the gear and sprinted to the main building. He found his way to the study and eased the door open. The room was massive, done in European style. A towering bookshelf lined the wall, packed with rare volumes and priceless art and antiques. Xiao Yi lounged against the back of a gilded armchair, a cigarette pinched between his long index finger and middle finger. He exhaled a thin stream of smoke. Zhongyu stepped forward, a chill crawling up his spine. "Mr. Xiao, what's the issue?" Xiao Yi's gaze was arctic. He tapped the cigarette against the desk. "Pull up the surveillance from after I left today." "Right away." Zhongyu's hands were trembling as he opened the laptop and cued the footage at 8 times speed. Xiao Yi watched in silence, his face dark as a gathering storm. A tea first, nothing. Then a small figure in a maid's uniform darted into a vegetable delivery truck. Zhongyu broke out in a cold sweat. How had this happened? The footage kept rolling. The same small figure reappeared at the main gate. A patrol car cruised past, and she vanished. Sweat streamed down Zhongyu's face. He couldn't wipe it away fast enough. Xiao Yi's lips curved, almost a smile, but the cold radiating off him made the air feel lethal. His voice dropped low, threaded with dark amusement. "Little one. You're quite agile. Aren't you? Bring them all to me." Wu Jingyi lay on the bed, eyes shut, trying to rest. But after nearly an hour of tossing and turning, sleep refused to come. She'd always struggled with insomnia. Normally she needed a pill just to get a few hours. She was considering taking one when she heard noise from downstairs, crying. She thought she imagined it, but no, someone was definitely crying. And that voice, it was Chen Yunqing. She bolted out of bed and took the elevator down. The living room was packed with mercenaries. Xiao Yi sat sprawled in a gilded European chair, one hand propping his jaw, radiating pure arrogance. About 15 feet away, Chen Yunqing and several guards were pinned to the floor, taking lashes. Wu Jingyi recognized the guards. The same ones she'd slipped past at the main gate earlier that day. The crack of the whip and Chen Yunqing's screams sent the watching servants into silent, trembling horror. "Stop!" Her voice cut through the noise, cold and sharp. Zhongyu glanced at Xiao Yi. Xiao Yi gave a slight nod. For a split second, maybe a trick of the light, Zhongyu could have sworn he saw a smile cross Xiao Yi's face. What the hell was there to smile about? He signaled for the whipping to stop. Wu Jingyi saw the blood soaking through Chen Yunqing's back and her fists clenched. She forced down the fury rising in her chest. "Mr. Xiao, what is the meaning of this?" Xiao Yi slowly turned the ring on his left index finger, his tone casual. "When you do something wrong, you face the consequences." Wu Jingyi's mind raced. Had he found out about her escape attempt? What gave her away? She walked toward him, her face tight. What did they do wrong? Xiao Yi's eyes slanted upward, lazy and dangerous. "You know exactly what." Wu Jingyi froze as though he did know. She pulled in a deep breath. She couldn't take this anymore. She really couldn't take this anymore. "You're insane, Xiao Yi," she yelled. "I'm your blood donor, not your prisoner. What gives you the right to lock me up?" Everyone in the room froze, stunned by Wu Jingyi's nerve. Zhongyu stared, mouth hanging open. The last person who talked to Mr. Xiao like that was 6 feet under. And a girl that pretty, what a waste. She probably wouldn't stay pretty for long once Mr. Xiao snapped her neck. Xiao Yi lowered his gaze, still twisting the ring on his finger. "Say that again." His voice stayed calm, but the menace rolling off him was thick enough to choke on. Zhongyu and the others nearby backed up on pure instinct. From where Wu Jingyi stood, she could just make out the black inverted cross tattooed on the back of Xiao Yi's neck. A cold chill slid down her spine. This man was unhinged. Picking a fight with someone that crazy was a terrible idea. Push him too far, and her entire revenge plan would collapse before it even started. She softened her tone. "Mr. Xiao, I only left because I had something important to take care of. I swear, I wasn't trying to run. I'll be your most loyal donor." Something in her words must have landed right, because Zhongyu felt the crushing pressure in the room eased. He let out a quiet breath. When Mr. Xiao lost his temper, blood usually followed. He couldn't help glancing at Wu Jingyi with fresh respect. She was the only person alive who'd thrown harsh words at Xiao Yi and lived to talk about it. Since Xiao Yi still hadn't spoken, she pressed on. "Can you let them go first?" The darkness in Xiao Yi's eyes hadn't lifted. He stared straight at her, raw, possessive heat burning in his gaze. "I told you, if you tried to run, I'd break your legs." A pause. "So, are your legs ready?" The second he finished, 2 burly mercenaries moved in fast, planting themselves directly behind her. Wu Jingyi's temples throbbed. Damn it. Was he ever going to drop this? But going head-to-head with him now would be suicide. She'd have to outsmart him instead. She flipped the script, softening into a perfect picture of wide-eyed innocence. "Mr. Xiao, the truth is, I snuck out so I could pray for you at the temple." Xiao Yi went completely still, caught off guard. Wu Jingyi's eyes reddened, her nose scrunched up, and those bright, clear eyes turned glassy. She subtly slipped off the jade bracelet on her wrist and held it out. See, I went through all that trouble to get this jade bracelet blessed for you. She'd received the bracelet on her 15th birthday. Her mother had spent an entire month eating only vegetarian meals at the temple, praying morning and night just to obtain it. Handing it over to Xiao Yi stung, but she'd rather lose the bracelet than her legs. She could always find a way to steal it back later. Xiao Yi took the bracelet from her hand. The jade was still warm, holding her body heat, carrying a faint, delicate fragrance. He turned it over in his fingers. Looks a little worn. Wu Jingyi fought the urge to roll her eyes. Seriously, picky about a damn bracelet. This was the most precious thing she owned. Keeping her face innocent, she said, I held it tight in my palm and knelt on the cushion for 3 whole hours praying that I guess I squeezed it too hard, so it got a little worn. I knelt until my legs bruised. She lifted the hem of her skirt, revealing the bruise on her knee that was actually from scraping it against the underside of the car when she'd climbed back under. Xiao Yi stared at the dark purple mark against her creamy skin, his gaze darkening. He reached out and quickly tugged her skirt back down, covering the bare skin. Seeing his reaction, Wu Jingyi seized the opening. Does it disgust you? Fine, give it back then. In a flash, she snatched the bracelet from his hand. That was close. She'd almost lost it for nothing. She moved to shove it into her pocket. Xiao Yi recovered just as fast, swiping it back before she could. I'll let it go this time. Don't do it again. He paused. But you should have just told me from the start. Wu Jingyi stared at her empty palm and clenched her fist. She still had to sell the act. Putting on a shy face, she said, I planned to slip it under your pillow tonight, but you just had to misunderstand and make me pull it out in front of everyone. Zhongyu awkwardly studied the ceiling. Were they really supposed to be hearing this? Xiao Yi cleared his throat and said coldly, everyone out. Zhongyu quickly herded the others toward the door. Let's go, let's go. So all that drama was just their version of foreplay. Only Mr. Xiao could pull off a stunt like that. Wu Jingyi noted that Han Lu and the others had been taken away, which meant they were probably safe. She'd gotten through this round without wasting a single expression. She turned and walked away. Xiao Yi called after her, where are you going? She didn't look back, dropping all pretense, upstairs. To sleep. Xiao Yi checked his watch. Eat dinner first, then sleep. She kept walking toward the stairs, not hungry. Her whole life, people had spoiled her and coaxed her. This was the first time she'd ever had to sweet-talk a man, and she'd lost the bracelet her mother gave her for nothing. Just looking at him irritated her. Xiao Yi watched her cold, retreating figure, frowning. Was she mad? That evening, Xiao Yi ate dinner alone in the dining room. A servant came in carrying a tray. Xiao Yi's face darkened when he saw the untouched meal. She won't eat? The servant stammered. Miss Wu said she's in a bad mood and doesn't want to eat. A flicker of anger blazed in Xiao Yi's eyes. Ungrateful. He slammed his chopsticks on the table and stood. Then he sat back down. He'd pushed her too hard today. She was still upset. Cornering her wouldn't help. He leaned back, pulled out his phone, and messaged a contact saved as Xie Mingyu. How do you make a girl happy? Xie Mingyu replied instantly. Holy shit, Yi, what's going on? You disappear for a few days and you've already found someone. What kind of woman has the skills to land my bro? What'd you do to piss her off? Don't tell me you got rough with her. Damn, you don't mess around when you go for it, you really go for it. Must have really hurt her. Xiao Yi's temple throbbed as the guy's rambling nonsense kept flooding in. Xiao Yi, keep talking and I'll have someone cut out your tongue tomorrow. Xie Mingyu, no, man, I'm sorry that if you cut out my tongue, where are you gonna find such a good advisor? Girls are simple, clothes, bags, jewelry. Send her a bunch of that stuff and she'll cheer right up. Yi, when are you bringing the lady out for us to meet? She must be a goddess, right? The phone kept buzzing. Xiao Yi ignored it. A goddess? Close enough. He pulled up another contact, Xie Yoli, and dialed, take care of something for me. And Xioli retreated to her room and pulled out every bit of medicine she had on her. She'd walked into dangerous situations so many times that keeping medical supplies close had become second nature. You never knew when you'd need them. But this time, Chen Yunqing had taken the hit meant for her. The guilt dug in deep. These meds were pricey. She'd share them with Chen Yunqing. Help her heal faster. She grabbed a packet and stepped out. Taiping Mountain's main house had several smaller wings branching off it. The staff lived in the closest one, each with their own room. Tian Xioli asked for directions to Chen Yunqing's room and headed that way. She hadn't even reached the door when a voice cut through the hallway, sharp with arrogance and heat. Chen Yunqing, don't think you get to slack off just because you got yourself hurt. And Xioli recognized the voice instantly. The steward. Chen Yunqing's voice came back weak. Steward, please, have a heart. These cuts on my back need at least a week to heal. I really can't work like this. The steward let out a scornful laugh. Can't work? Fine. Taiping Mountain doesn't pay freeloaders. I'll dock your wages until you're back on the job. At the mention of losing her salary, Chen Yunqing's voice cracked with panic. Steward, my father is bedridden and my mother has to take care of him, and my little brother is still in school. Our whole family depends on this paycheck. I'll go back to work tomorrow, please. The steward's tone turned smug. That's more like it. Who told you to hang around that little bitch? Now you've learned your lesson. Let me make one thing perfectly clear. She doesn't run this house. Don't go thinking you'll get anywhere by sucking up to her. Chen Yunqing said quietly, I wasn't trying to. And Xioli's frown deepened outside the door. When exactly had she crossed this steward? Why did the woman seem so hostile? Before she could finish the thought, the steward stepped out of Chen Yunqing's room. The woman startled at the sight of her. A brief flash of embarrassment crossed her face, but she recovered fast. What was there to be afraid of? Xiao Yi had grown up under her care. Did she seriously believe he'd side with some outsider against her? She shot Xioli a condescending look, said nothing, and walked off. Xioli stepped into Chen Yunqing's room, medicine in hand. Chen Yunqing was lying face down on the bed. The moment she spotted her, she scrambled to sit up. Missen, what are you doing here? Don't get up. And Xioli gently eased her back down. She held up the packet of powder and smiled. I'm here to treat your cuts. Chen Yunqing's face flooded with gratitude. Thank you, Missen. And Xioli began lifting the hem of her shirt. Don't thank me. I dragged you into this. You didn't deserve that whipping. Chen Yunqing rested her head on her arms. Missen is a good person. I'm sure you had your reasons for everything that happened. And Xioli's hands paused. A good person. Her hands had far too much blood on them for that title. She let out a dry laugh. You're awfully naive, girl. Chen Yunqing laughed too. My mom always says I'm lucky to be simple. Otherwise I never would have landed a job at Taiping Mountain. And Xiaoli didn't answer. She focused on Chen Yunqing's back. Several whip marks crisscrossed the skin. They looked ugly, but they were only surface wounds, no deep tissue damage at all. Xiao Yi had held back. He'd used Chen Yunqing to send a message. She sprinkled the powder gently across the cuts. Keep the area dry for a few days. 2 days of bed rest and you'll be fine. Chen Yunqing sighed. I have to work tomorrow. The steward won't let me off. Thinking of the steward, she added, Missen, if you're planning to stay at Taiping Mountain long term, you should try to get on the steward's good side. She said you were terribly rude to her when you first arrived. She's livid. She told the kitchen not to cook for you, and she ordered all of us to steer clear. This is Mr. Xiao's house, but he's always busy and never home. The steward runs everything around here. Mr. Xiao was raised by the steward. She's practically a second mother to him. If you get on her bad side, I'm afraid things will get very hard for you. And Xiaoli let out a soft laugh. So that was it. She'd somehow offended the steward when she arrived. She didn't even remember doing it, but the steward acting like she owned the place because she'd helped raise the master, that was a step too far. She folded up the leftover medicine and set it on Chen Yunqing's nightstand. Thanks for the warning. But tell me. Do you want good food and drink every day, an easy job, and double the pay? Chen Yunqing's eyes went wide. More than anything, but how would I ever get something like that? And Xiaoli smiled. I'll make it happen tomorrow. Chen Yunqing looked at that confident smile and somehow believed her. She nodded, her own grin spreading wide. After leaving Chen Yunqing's room, and Xiaoli went to shower. When she finished, she wrapped herself in a towel and stepped barefoot onto the thick carpet. Her freshly bathed skin held a delicate pink glow, soft as a petal rising from water. She scooped up her dirty clothes and carried them to the balcony, stuffing everything into the washing machine. Taiping Mountain didn't have a single spare set of women's clothing. This was the only outfit she had. So every evening, she wrapped herself in a towel, washed and dried her clothes, and put them back on the next morning. She was about to start the cycle when a knock came at the door. Missen. A maid's voice sounded from the hallway. Xiaoli's instincts pricked. She frowned. Yes? She called through the door. Mr. Xiao is requesting your presence downstairs. He says he needs to see you. What now, at this hour? Irritating. I'll be there, and Xiaoli said, clipped. She went back to the washing machine, pulled out the clothes, and put them on again. So much for that shower. Irritating. Once dressed, she opened the door and took the elevator down to the living room. As she stepped out, she saw a cluster of smiling saleswomen standing there. Each had a display rack in front of her, loaded with luxury brand clothes, shoes, bags, and jewelry. Xiao Yu was seated in the living room when he heard the elevator. He looked over. Under the glittering crystal chandelier, and Xiaoli walked slowly toward him. She was still in that white dress and white shoes, her long black hair falling over her shoulders like sea foam. The chandelier's light caught the curve of her fair cheeks. There was something startlingly clean about her, almost too pure. No heavy makeup, no flashy jewelry, just her, standing there, and it was impossible to look away. Xiao Yi felt his breath catch. This little thing, she really knew how to work her seduction. He tilted his head with a crooked grin. Come here. A flicker of irritation crossed Xiao Li's face, but she moved toward him obediently. Her eyes swept the items in front of the saleswomen. She estimated it was worth at least several million. What was Xiao Yi playing at, sending such expensive gifts? Then a terrible thought struck her. He wasn't satisfied with her being his blood source. Did he want her as his pet bird too? Absolutely not. She sold blood, she didn't sell herself. And Xiao Li dropped onto the sofa, pressing as far from Xiao Yuan as she could. She tipped her chin toward the saleswomen. Mr. Xiao, what is all this? Xiao Yuan leaned back, loose-limbed and arrogant, a smirk tugging at the corner of his mouth. See if you like any of it. Her brow furrowed. A man doesn't give gifts like this without wanting something. She didn't move. Mr. Xiao, I don't take things for free. What's the catch? Xiao Yuan had never bothered giving a woman a present before, and this was her reaction. A hot spike of irritation shot through him. His face went cold in an instant. He ran his tongue over his back teeth, slowly twisting the ring on his finger. Little one, I'm trying to win you over. Ungrateful brat. Xiao Li blinked. He'd bought all this because she'd said she was in a bad mood. Since when? Still, this wasn't what she actually wanted. She thought for a moment, then said, Mr. Xiao, I don't like these. Try something else. A flicker of interest lit Xiao Yuan's dark eyes. Interesting, she was negotiating with him. He'd see what game she was playing. His lips curved, his low voice dripping with cold amusement. Go on. And Xiao Li met his stare dead on. I want to be able to come and go freely. Impossible. Xiao Yuan cut her off mid-sentence, his expression hardening. Xiao Li gritted her teeth and pushed forward anyway. I swear I'll be back by 10 every night. I promise. She had things to do. She couldn't just rot inside these walls. Xiao Yuan's face darkened further, the air around him turning razor sharp. I told you. If you try to run, I'll break your legs. And Xiao Li could see there was no reasoning with a madman. She switched tactics. She shot to her feet. This is your idea of winning someone over? You won't even give me one small thing. Back home, my parents and my brother never told me no. They gave me everything. If you're not serious about this, then stop pretending. Just lock me in here and let me rot. Tears flooded her eyes. One slipped down her cheek. She hadn't meant to cry, but thinking about her family cracked something open. Xiao Yuan stared at her tears, his brow creased. Taiping Mountain has karaoke rooms, a movie theater, a swimming pool, a golf course. Every kind of entertainment you can think of. If you want something else, I'll have it built. Why do you need to leave? Was he even human? She wasn't a pet bird. Xiao Li was exhausted from going in circles with him. She decided to put her cards on the table. My parents were murdered. My brother is in a coma. If you keep me locked up here, every single day will be hell. I have things I need to do. Xiao Yuan's expression eased. Just slightly. There it was. The little fox finally shows her tail. So she came back to the capital after 4 years for revenge. She thought she could take on the in-group by herself. A scornful smile touched his lips. Overreaching. And Xiao Li ignored the mockery. All she cared about was getting out. How will I know unless I try? Xiao Yuan slowly twisted the ring on his finger, a habit when he was thinking that if the little one wanted to crash into a wall, fine. He'd let her when she came crying to him for help. It would be entertaining. He spoke coolly. Back at Taiping Mountain by 6 every evening. 6. Back when she lived with the An family, her curfew had been 10. Still, getting out at all was a win. 6. It was. An surely stretched her lips into a bright, fake smile. Of course, Mr. Xiao. A hint of amusement flickered in Xiao Yuan's eyes. He glanced at the luxury goods spread across the room. See if you like anything. Since he'd given her ground, and surely was happy to play along. Besides, she had nowhere else in the capital. And Taiping Mountain security was airtight. Staying here meant being safer. She walked over to the display, eyes going wide with manufactured delight. All of these are really for me. They're gorgeous. I love them. Xiao Yuan watched her smile and found his own lips curving in response. Much better. This look suits her. Luxury items kept flowing into Ansholi's room, but someone was watching with envy. Wu Jingyi lurked in the shadows, watching the glittering jewelry pass by, frustration and anger coiling tight in her chest. What was Xiao Yuan thinking? Giving that woman so many things. How much had all this cost? Was he actually falling for her? No, if that woman became the lady of the house, Wu Jingyi would lose her position. Before her own pockets were full enough, she couldn't let anyone get close to Xiao Yuan. She had to find a way to make the woman back off. That night, Ansholi swallowed a sleeping pill before drifting off. She woke early the next morning. She had things to do today, important things, but first, she needed to deal with Chen Yunqing. She washed up, changed, and headed downstairs. A few maids were chatting as they worked. Did you watch the Golden MIC Awards last night? Li Yaqing won Best Diva again. I love her. Of course I did. She's amazing. That voice, she's gorgeous, and she's an heiress of the An group. How is one person that perfect? She could coast on her family name, but she went the talent route. I'm obsessed. I heard she might be marrying Pei Tianming of the Pei Group. You think it's true? The Pei Group and the An Group are the two biggest conglomerates in the empire. It's probably real. Pei Tianming is a Best Actor winner. That girl is living the dream. Best Actor and Best Diva My ship is sailing. I'm so happy. Ansholi listened from behind them, her innocent face turning to ice. Pei Tianming, her ex-fiancé, about to marry Li Yaqing. Perfect. Her enemies were all in one place. She could take them all down at once. She stepped forward. Is breakfast ready? The maids jumped, startled to find someone standing behind them. One of them shot her a filthy look. The staff at Taiping Mountain serve Mr. Xiao. We don't care about anyone else. If you want food, make it yourself. Ansholi swallowed a cold laugh. Wu Jingyi really acted like this place was her own house. She was the woman Xiao Yuan brought here, and she couldn't even get a meal. She ignored the maids and walked straight to the kitchen. Once inside, she didn't start cooking. Instead, she leaned against the counter and texted Xiao Yi. Come pick me up at Taiping Mountain. He replied instantly. On it. Kissy-faced. Ansholi smiled. Kid, she timed it. Xiao Yuan would be heading downstairs soon. She pulled out a compact mirror, touched up her makeup, then left the kitchen right on cue. Xiao Yuan was sitting at the dining table. He looked up. "Come eat," before he could finish, and surely crumpled and hit the floor with a heavy thud. Xiao Yuan's eyes went wide. He shot up, crossed the room in seconds, and scooped her into his arms. And surely, her eyes were shut, her face and lips deathly pale. Xiao Yuan's expression turned black as iron. He roared, "Get Xie Mingyu here now." Wei Xian was Xiao Yi's personal physician. He showed up a few minutes later, medical bag in hand, expecting to find Xiao Yi injured. Instead, he froze at the sight of a woman lying in Xiao Yi's bed. Holy shit! Xiao Yi had a woman. He'd honestly started to think the guy preferred men. Xiao Yi's face darkened with barely leashed fury. "What are you staring at? Get over here and check her." Wei hurried to the bedside. The girl's eyes were closed, her face pale as paper. Even sick like this, she was stunning. So this was Xiao Yi's type, innocent looking. Xiao Yi caught him staring at Ruoxi's face and kicked him hard in the ass. "Look at her again and I'll gouge your eyes out." Wei stumbled, nearly falling, then forced a smile. I'm looking." He did a quick exam and relaxed. "Nothing serious, just low blood sugar." She passed out from it. Xiao Yi frowned at Ruoxi's pale face. "She looks that bad, and you're sure?" Wei nodded. He could spot a simple case like this blindfolded. He pulled a bottle of oral glucose solution from his bag. "Give her this, then get some food into her. She'll be fine." He cracked the seal and started to bring it to her mouth. Xiao Yi snatched it out of his hand. "I'll do it." He sat at the head of the bed and pulled Ruoxi into his arms. First time holding a woman. Damn soft, and she smelled good. After he tipped the solution into her mouth, her eyes fluttered open. Those clear, almond-shaped eyes snapped into focus, and suddenly she was alive, beautiful in a way that made his chest ache. Wei smiled. "She's fine now, just make sure she eats regular meals." Xiao Yi still had Ruoxi cradled against him. He looked down at her pale face, annoyed. "This is what you get when you skip meals out of spite." A flicker of hurt crossed her face. "I didn't eat dinner yesterday because I was upset, but this morning I was hungry, so I went to get breakfast. The maid said they only serve you if I wanted food. I had to make it myself. I went to the small kitchen to cook something, but I got dizzy and headed back to my room to lie down. Next thing I knew, everything went black." Xiao Yi's expression hardened. He pulled out his phone and called Li Feng. "Get Wu Ma up here." Minutes later, both Li Feng and Wu Ma arrived. Wu Ma froze when she saw Xiao Yi sitting on the bed with Ruoxi weak in his arms. "What the hell happened?" Xiao Yi's voice was ice. "The staff told her if she wants to eat, she has to cook it herself. Since when can't I afford a single meal for her?" Wu Ma's stomach dropped. She shot a look at Ruoxi, who stared back with open defiance. "Little bitch, running to tattle." Wu Ma scrambled. No, I gave clear instructions for the kitchen to prepare meals for Miss, and it must be some clueless maids speaking out of turn. I'll discipline them right away." Xiao Yi's face didn't soften. "Ridiculous, fire them, all of them." He turned to Li Feng. "Hire a new staff, train them properly, fail, and you're out too." Li Feng groaned internally. his training experience was with mercenaries and killers, not maids, but the CEO's girl had been slighted, and when this man wanted blood, you just took it. Yes, sir, he said, nodding mechanically. Xiao Yi looked back at Wu Ma. From now on, Misson gets the best of everything, matching the standard she had at the in-family home. Jealousy flickered in Wu Ma's eyes. Why was he suddenly so protective of this little snake? But I don't know what standard the in-family kept, she hedged. Xiao Yi looked down at Ruoxi. What was it like at your father's house? A sly glint lit her eyes. That if he was offering, she wasn't going to hold back. A good life, who'd choose the bad one? It's a long list. She began counting on her slender fingers. Top-grade golden bird's nest, the blood nest kind, every morning and night. All my produce, meat, and milk come from organic farms overseas, flown in fresh daily. A fresh milk bath every night. And a massage therapist and nutritionist on staff. That's the basics, for now. Wu Ma nearly choked. That was her idea of basics. Xiao Yi wasn't stupid enough to agree to this. Xiao Yi watched Ruoxi tick off her demands with those delicate fingers. A hint of amusement flickering in his eyes. Shengnan had raised his daughter in luxury, and no wonder the little thing was so soft-skinned and sweet-smelling. He turned to Wu Ma. Make it happen. Wu Ma couldn't believe he'd gone along with such absurd demands. Ah Yi, I'm just an old housekeeper. I don't know how to arrange any of that. Xiao Yi's face went cold again. He turned to Li Feng. Since she doesn't know, hire someone who does. Li Feng nodded like a bobblehead. Yes, sir. Wu Ma's heart sank. Was she losing control of the household too? Xiao Yuan turned to Ruoxi the second he finished speaking. I did what you asked, now you behave. Don't give me a reason to get angry. Ruoxi's eyes curved into a smile. Of course. She let the silence hang for a beat. But Mr. Xiao, right now my blood sugar is dangerously low. I could pass out at any moment. Maybe you could spare someone to take care of me. She was his personal blood bank. Nothing bad could happen to her supply. Xiao Yuan didn't blink. Fine. Ruoxi pushed a little further. Could it be Chen Qingqing? We get along well. Something shifted behind Xiao Yuan's eyes. Fine. She couldn't believe how smoothly this was working. Might as well keep going. I tend to need a lot of help from the staff. You should probably double her salary. Xiao Yuan's brow arched. Clever little thing. She was testing every inch of his leash, but he was in a good mood. Fine. Ruoxi beamed. It was almost too easy. Thank you, Mr. Xiao. She had to admit, she hated looking at his face slightly less now. Xiao Yuan settled her back onto the bed. Rest. I'm going. Before he walked out, he told Li Feng, Misson has full clearance to come and go from Taiping Mountain effective immediately. Li Feng glanced at Ruoxi. Pure respect was already building in his chest. Yesterday the boss had been ready to kill her for trying to escape. Today he was casually handing over unrestricted access. How the hell did she pull this off? This was Xiao Yuan. The man was ice. Wei Xian followed Xiao Yuan down the stairs. Mr. Xiao, there's something I need to report. Xiao Yuan slid a cigarette from the pack, his knuckles sharp against the paper. thin lips closing around the filter. Go ahead. He cocked his head, click. The metal lighter sparked blue, the tobacco crackled as it caught. Wei Xian measured every word. Missing. She isn't actually hypoglycemic. She's faking it. Xiao Yuan took a long, slow drag, eyes narrowing as he exhaled a ribbon of smoke through the haze. His sharp features looked almost unreal. I know, let her have her little games. It meant nothing. Wei Xian blinked. Of course Xiao Yuan already knew that no one slipped anything past this man unless he chose to let it slide. Probably just some kind of twisted couple's foreplay. Damn, Wei Xian wanted to slap his own mouth. Shut up, you idiot. Next time, mind your own damn business. The moment Xiao Yuan was gone, and Ruoxi bounced off the bed, full of energy, she headed straight for Chen Qingqing's room. Chen Qingqing was wrestling with her uniform, about to head to work, her face lit up. The second she saw an Ruoxi. Missin. And Ruoxi nudged her back onto the bed. Let me put your medicine on first. Chen Qingqing shook her head. No, I need to get to my shift. She managed a small smile. That medicine works really well. My back barely hurts anymore. And Ruoxi lifted an eyebrow. You're not on shift from now on. You're assigned to take care of me personally, and your pay just doubled. Chen Qingqing's eyes went huge. She did it. Missin really did it. Her eyes reddened. Thank you, Missin. And Ruoxi touched her cheek. Gentle. You helped me first. You earned this. Chen Qingqing shook her head. I didn't do anything, but you don't understand how badly I needed this money. And Ruoxi had overheard about her family situation that day outside the door. Chen Qingqing was fighting just as hard for the people she loved. She wrapped her arms around her, soft and steady. We're going to be fine. Chen Qingqing pressed her face into an Ruoxi's shoulder, tears falling, and nodded fiercely. After she finished with the medicine, and Ruoxi left the house, she had Li Feng drive her to the base of the mountain. In the distance, Xiao Liu's bright yellow Ferrari was hard to miss. She climbed out of Li Feng's car and slipped into the passenger seat of the Ferrari. Xiao Liu was practically buzzing. Boss, everything's in place. What's the move? And Ruoxi glanced at the overstuffed bag in the back seat, her gaze turning ice cold. First, I'm collecting some interest from the Yin family. Xiao Liu hit the gas. Hell yes. The Yin family lived in a massive standalone villa in the heart of the city. It used to be in Ruoxi's home. After her parents died in that car crash, and Shangxing had swallowed up more than the incorporation, that he took the house too. Directly across from the villa stood a mid-rise office building. Tian Ruoxi and Xiao Liu made their way to the rooftop. Through the binoculars, she spotted her aunt, Zhao Qingji, tending the garden below. The garden was overflowing with roses in full bloom. An Ruoxi's mother had the character 4 Rose in her name. Her father had scoured the entire country for over a dozen varieties, planting every corner of the garden just to make her smile. Every time Zhao Qingji had visited back then, she'd stare at those roses with naked envy. Now Zhao Qingji was squatting on everything her mother had built. She was probably feeling pretty damn proud of herself. Hatred burned hot in an Ruoxi's eyes. She crouched, flipped open the case Xiao Liu hauled up, and assembled the Barrett sniper rifle with fast, practiced hands, she raised the gun and braced it against the concrete railing. The whole motion was seamless, fluid muscle memory. She squinted through the scope, the crosshairs locking onto Zhao Qingji's forehead. Then she dipped the aim slightly and squeezed the trigger. Bang! The watering can in Zhao Qingji's hand exploded, drenching her in water and metal fragments through the scope, and Ruoxi watched her shriek and stumble backward toward the house. Her feet tangled beneath her and she face-planted straight into the flowerbed. Then Ruoxi didn't stop. She fired another dozen rounds, each shot pounding into the dirt inches from Zhao Qingji's body. Zhao Qingji let out a scream that was pure terror from this distance, and Ruoxi watched a dark stain spread across the woman's pants. She'd pissed herself. An Ruoxi's smile was ice. She lowered the rifle. Xiao Liu stared, baffled. Every single shot had missed on purpose. "Boss, why not just end that old witch?" And Ruoxi broke the rifle down, packed it into the case, and tossed it to him. "What's the rush? Don't you think watching them squirm is so much more fun?" She looked toward the villa one last time. "I want them to live in fear, every single day. I'll take them apart one piece at a time." Xiao Liu gave her a thumbs up. "Boss. That's savage." And Ruoxi turned and let herself take one last long look at the villa. Part of her wanted to shoot out every window, blast every door off its hinges, destroy everything inside just to release the pressure in her chest. But that place had been her home, she couldn't bring herself to do it. Today Zhao Qingji had been scared out of her mind. The entire family wouldn't sleep well for a long, long time. This was only the beginning. She turned to Xiao Liu. "Let's move." Xiao Liu hoisted the Barrett onto his shoulder and fell into step. "Where to next, boss?" And Ruoxi considered for a second. "Time to start the meeting." Zhao Qingji sat on the sofa in the inn residence, hair tangled, eyes wild with terror, her whole body trembling. "Mom." And Chu-Chu burst through the front door, her voice cutting through the room. Zhao Qingji stretched out a shaking hand, her voice cracking. "Chu-Chu." And Chu-Chu rushed to her, grabbed her hand, and dropped down beside her. Her husband, and Shangxing, and their son, and Xianyu, followed close behind. Shangxing's gaze was dark, unreadable. Xianyu threw himself onto the couch next to Zhao Qingji, his face twisted with rage. "Who the hell thinks he can come after my mom? When I find him, I'll make sure it's the last breath he ever takes." And Shangxing's voice came low and steady. "Tell me exactly what happened." Still sobbing, Zhao Qingji walked them through it, her words shaking. "If that guy hadn't missed, I wouldn't have made it home to any of you." And Chu-Chu pulled her into a tight hug. "Mom, it's over now. You're safe." And Shangxing listened, his frown deepening with every word. "He didn't miss," he said flatly. "He let you live on purpose." The first shot had punched through the watering can in her hand dead center. The next dozen or so rounds all hit the ground at her feet. The man wasn't trying to kill her. He was playing with her, sending the family a message. He could take Zhao Qingji's life whenever he wanted. Which meant he could take anyone in this family. Zhao Qingji's voice shook harder. "Honey, what do we do?" And Chu-Chu and Xianyu both turned to their father. A flicker of cold ruthlessness crossed Shangxing's eyes. He'd weathered too many storms to be rattled by a cheap scare tactic. He turned to Xianyu. "Replace every window in the house with bulletproof glass. Double security. Round-the-clock patrols. Pull the neighborhood surveillance footage and see if we can get an ID. And Xian Yu nodded fast. Got it. I'm on it. He was out the door in seconds. An Chu motioned for a maid to help her mother upstairs to rest, then sat back down across from her father. Dad, could it be a competitor? The An family's been climbing fast. Some people don't like that. And Shangxing gave a slow nod. It's possible. His gaze shifted. How are things going with Pei Tianqi? A smug smile curved An Chu's lips. Dad, when have I ever let you down? His wrapped around my finger. Pride flickered across An Shangxing's face. I was worried Pei Tianqi wouldn't be able to forget that brat An Ruoxi. At the mention of An Ruoxi, contempt filled An Chu's eyes. What is she, anyway? If it weren't for her family's money back then, she never would have stood a chance against me. And Shangxing studied his daughter's delicate, striking face and nodded. Lock him down. The Pei family is second only to the Xiao family. An alliance with them takes us to the next level. And Chu's confidence didn't waver. Don't worry, Dad. I'll have Tianqi set an engagement date as soon as possible. At the Gui tea house in the Imperial Capital, the front doors were locked tight. Inside the private tea room, the air was fragrant and warm. An Ruoxi sat in the host seat, legs crossed, taking a relaxed sip of tea, completely at ease. On both sides of the table sat the owners of 8 of the city's most famous shops. Every one of them looked at her with deep respect. An Ruoxi set her cup down. How much did we pull in this month? The man at the head of the table, a former steward of the An household named Zheng Jingyan, smiled. Miss, I tallied it up before you arrived. 150 million total. The money will hit your account shortly. An Ruoxi gave a satisfied nod. The shops hadn't been open long. That number was respectable. Still, her expenses were enormous. This was nowhere near enough. She gestured for them to continue. Run me through each shop. I'm short on time, so keep it brief. The owners reported one by one. After each report, An Ruoxi fired off a few sharp instructions. By the time the last one finished, it was nearly 5 in the evening. She checked her phone. She needed to get back to Taiping Mountain soon. Otherwise, that lunatic Xiao Yuan would lose his mind again. She stood. That's it for today. Call me if anything comes up. Xia Ying, who ran the luxury clothing store, jumped up and looped her arm through An Ruoxi's, swaying her slender waist playfully. Miss, I haven't seen you in forever. Stay for dinner, please. The others looked at her with hopeful eyes, nodding. Yeah, miss. What's so urgent you can't even eat with us? An Ruoxi sighed. She wished she could stay, but she'd gotten herself tangled up with a possessive control freak. She patted Xia Ying's hand. Next time, okay? I really can't today. Xia Ying had the kind of dangerously beautiful face that was pure charm and seduction. She pouted, not letting go. Then give me a kiss before you leave. An Ruoxi laughed, leaned in, and planted a quick peck on her cheek. Happy now? Xia Ying touched her cheek, beaming. Now that's more like it. An Ruoxi was about to leave when Zheng Jingyan remembered something. Miss, Tianhuan Imperial Banquet launches a new menu in 3 days. Would you like to come and give your input? An Ruoxi shrugged. I'll see. She turned to leave again. Zheng Jingyan added with a knowing smile, Pei Tianqi reserved a table. Is throwing a birthday party for An Chu. And Ruoxi paused. Well, in that case, I wouldn't miss it for the world. Zheng Jingyan bowed his head. We'll be expecting you, miss. Taiping Mountain was a long drive from the city center. Xiao Liu drove like a maniac, barely getting an Ruoxi back before 6. He watched her scramble out of the car, baffled. Boss, why are you so scared of him? If it came down to it, we might not even lose. Why let him push you around? And Ruoxi flicked his forehead. Can you stop being so impulsive? I'll leave this place eventually, just not yet. Xiao Liu didn't like seeing his boss trapped here, but he trusted her judgment. He pouted. Fine, but if things go south, call me. And Ruoxi laughed and slammed the car door. Get lost. She watched his car disappear down the mountain road, then turned and headed inside. Doors opened in front of her one by one, then closed again behind her. By the time she reached the main building, her phone buzzed with a bank notification. 150 million deposited. She opened the app and hit transfer, typed 140 million. Then paused, changed the 4 to a 5, entered the password. Transfer successful. Account balance, 258 yuan. She let out a soft sigh. So poor. After the transfer, she opened WeChat and sent a message to a contact named Dr. Jin. Sent you 150 million. Hurry up with the drug research. Dr. Jin sent back a huge smiley face. Got it, my sugar daddy. She pocketed her phone, walked through the living room, and took the elevator upstairs. In the living room, Wu Ma stood with a dark expression, watching An Ruoxi's back disappear. No, this woman couldn't be allowed to take everything from Xiao Yuan. She had to find a way to get rid of her. Frowning, Wu Ma thought hard, then her eyes lit up. She had an idea. Back in her room, An Ruoxi laid out all the bags and jewelry Xiao Yuan had given her. If she sold everything, she could probably pull in 1 million or so. She'd take a few pieces to Xie Ying tomorrow and have her help offload them. Right now she was flat broke, she needed cash. Fast. She'd barely finished setting aside the pieces she planned to take when a maid knocked. Missin, dinner is ready. She called out a reply and headed down to the dining room. Apparently, Xiao Yuan's word was law. The table was spread with a king's feast. She ate alone, happily, until she was full. After dinner, she returned to her room and found the maid had already drawn a bath of fresh milk. She hadn't had a milk bath since her parents died. Funny how the person who made it happen was that insufferable Xiao Yuan. She pulled a pair of pajamas from the closet, same brand she used to wear. Nothing special about the label except the price tag. Back home, her parents and brother had always given her the best of everything. She squeezed the fabric, her eyes stinging, her chest tightened, but she blinked the tears away and pulled herself together. Mom, Dad, and her brother would be devastated if they knew she'd cried. She took the pajamas into the bathroom. After her shower, she sat on the bed and sorted through her thoughts. The empire's 6 major conglomerates, Xiao, Pei, Xie, Shun, An, and Ju, they collaborated when it suited them, but each one wanted to knock the others down and climb higher. An Shangxing's plan was to marry An Chuchu to Pei Tianqi and latch onto the Pei family. An Ruoxi had some dirt on An Shangxing, but nothing fatal. The best move was to wreck that engagement and turn them against each other. If she could get the Pei family to go after the An family, she'd get twice the results with half the work. She ran through the intel she already had a plan. Tomorrow she'd go pay Tianqi and Enchuchu a visit. She glanced at the time. Almost 11. It was late. Xiao Yuan still wasn't back. Guess running the empire's biggest conglomerate wasn't a cushy job. She took a sleeping pill from the nightstand, dry swallowed it, and lay down. Just as she closed her eyes, a commotion broke out outside her door. She rolled over, irritated, and pressed her hands over her ears. Bang, 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 heavy pounding. "Missin, are you asleep?" She wanted to pretend she hadn't heard, but the noise would have woken a deaf man. She frowned, dragged herself out of bed, and opened the door. "What is it?" Li Feng stood there, face panicked. "Mr. Xiao is injured." And Ruoxi blinked. Xiao Yuan, injured? A man as untouchable as a god could actually get hurt. Li Feng said, "Missin, please go see him." She didn't move. "If he's hurt, call a doctor. I'm not one." Why would she go see him? Li Feng froze. Aren't they a couple? When the boss gets hurt, shouldn't she be at his side? She didn't look the least bit worried. Just then, a head poked out from Xiao Yuan's doorway. "Li Feng, Mr. Xiao needs a transfusion." Li Feng turned on it. And Ruoxi understood now that Li Feng had called her over because she was his walking blood bank. She headed toward Xiao Yuan's room. "Let's go." Li Feng was even more confused. She didn't want to come a second ago. Now she was walking over on her own. Women were impossible to read. He didn't follow her. Instead, he turned and ran downstairs. Ruoxi entered Xiao Yuan's room. The thick, metallic smell of blood hit her as soon as she stepped inside. He'd lost a lot. She wondered how much they'd take. Xiao Yuan sat propped against the headboard, shirtless. His eyes were half closed, his face pale. Wei Xian was treating his wound. It was a big one. Right over his left chest, close to the heart. Looked like a knife wound, and from an amateur. If the attacker had been a pro, Xiao Yuan would be dead. To cut that deep, he would have had to be close, and Xiao Yuan would have had to be off guard. Someone he knew betrayed by someone he trusted. Or maybe a woman stabbed him while they were in bed. She'd seen plenty of that back when she was a killer. Done staring. "Get over here." And Ruoxi was deep in thought when Xiao Yuan's voice cut through, weak but sharp. His eyes were fixed on her. She looked left and right. No one else around. Find he meant her. She shuffled toward the bed inch by inch. He watched her slow movements, his gaze turning grim. "You get a free look at my body and now you're shy. Get over yourself." Her eyes landed on his solid chest and washboard abs. "Shy, my ass, why didn't that knife finish him off?" Wei Xian had already dressed the wound. The bleeding had stopped. Ruoxi rolled up her sleeve and thrust her arm at him. "Go ahead." Her expression was almost heroic. Wei Xian looked at her, puzzled. "Go ahead with what?" "Blood. He lost a lot. Don't you need to transfuse him?" "Got the blood bags here." Li Feng's loud voice rang through the room. Ruoxi turned to see him running in with several bags of blood. She was completely thrown. Wei Xian took the bags. "Typing Mountain has a blood bank. No need to draw from you for now." And Ruoxi shot a confused look at Xiao Yuan. If they had a blood bank, why drag her back to Typing Mountain? Too much food at home and needed someone to help eat it. Xiao Yuan saw her staring and smirked. "Didn't need your blood after all. Touched? God, why wasn't he dead yet?" Wei Xian hooked up the transfusion line and started the drip. Ruoxi figured she had no reason to stay and turned to leave, but Wei Xian stopped her. "Missin, Mr. Xiao might run a fever tonight, but I'll need you to stay and watch him. And Ruoxi glanced at Li Feng and the mercenaries practically filling the room. With all these people here, why her, alone in a room with him? That doesn't seem right. Wei Xian shot an apologetic look at Xiao Yuan. Xiao Yuan's cold, sharp gaze landed on an Ruoxi. Play coy too long, and it backfires. Miss this chance, and you'll regret it. And Ruoxi rolled her eyes. Gee, thanks. Give this chance to someone else. Everyone else took the hint and cleared out immediately. Wei Xian said, call me if anything happens. Then he was gone. 2 seconds later, only Xiao Yuan and an Ruoxi remained, staring at each other. Xiao Yuan shifted to sit up straighter. I know you want me, but I'm badly injured, so try to control yourself. And Ruoxi quickly looked away. She was going to kill him tonight. She really couldn't take it anymore. There was no escaping Xiao Yuan. Surely dragged a chair to his bedside, and Saturday, the sleeping pill she'd taken earlier, was kicking in. Her eyelids drooped, her head dipped forward. Xiao Yi had already stretched out across the bed, but he noticed her about to nod off and reached over, pinching her cheek. So soft. Don't sleep. The patient was wide awake while the caretaker was about to crash. Unacceptable. Xiaoli jolted at his touch, instantly alert. Her desire to commit murder hit an all-time high, but Xiao Yi missed the homicidal glare entirely. Help me sit up. I need a cigarette. She dragged in a breath, forcing herself calm. She shelved the hatred for the moment. Gritting her teeth, she cupped his head and eased him upright. Just as he was almost there, she let go. His back hit the headboard with a solid thunk and a pained grunt. Face pale, he pinned her with ice-cold eyes. Planning to knock me unconscious so you can have your way with me? And Xiaoli fisted her hands. If you're that worried, I'll find someone else. Xiao Yi gave her a knowing look. Forget it. You've been dying for a shot like this. I'll suffer through it and let you take advantage. She couldn't even talk to him anymore. Where's the cigarette? She practically shouted. Maybe smoking would shut him up. He pointed at the side table, over there. And Xiaoli snatched the pack and lighter and tossed them onto the bed beside him. Xiao Yi slid out a cigarette, placed it between his lips, and said, light it for me. She flicked the lighter. A flame sparked. Her gaze dropped straight to his carved 8-pack abs. She had to admit it. The bastard had an incredible body. So focused on his stomach, she didn't register that the lighter was still nowhere near his cigarette. Xiao Yi didn't feel like moving. He reached out, wrapped his hand around her wrist, and guided the lighter up to his lips. Skin on skin, heat shot through her. A tingle raced up and Xiaoli's arm. She yanked her hand free and pulled away. Xiao Yi held the cigarette between his lips, watching her flustered face with a dark, seductive look. You lit my cigarette. I'll let you touch my abs. One feel. No thanks. And Xiaoli turned away, awkward, and set the lighter and pack back on the table. He blew out a stream of smoke, his grin wicked. You sure? Last chance. And Xiaoli sank into her chair, shut her eyes, and pretended she hadn't heard. Around 3 in the morning, Xiao Yi spiked a fever. His face was flushed red, and he was barely conscious. And Xiaoli stood and gently patted his cheek. Xiao Yi, Xiao Yi. He frowned but didn't answer. She called the steward. The steward came up, got him hooked to and 4 with anti-inflammatories, and told Ansholi to cool him down with a sponge bath. She didn't want to. She'd never taken care of a man before, why start now? But seeing Xiao Yi suffering softened her. Fine, he did help me get back to living like a rich girl. I'll let him off this once. With that, she went to the bathroom, filled a basin with warm water, and used a towel to wipe down his forehead and body, trying to bring the fever under control. Xiao Yi started mumbling in his fever, "Don't hit my mom, Mom, don't leave," and Sholi's curiosity flickered. Everyone said Xiao Yi was cold-blooded, that he killed his parents when he was 8. Maybe there was more to the story. She worked until past 5 in the morning, when his fever finally broke. Exhausted, Ansholi collapsed onto the edge of the bed and fell asleep. In her sleep, she felt a pair of icy eyes staring at her. Pure animal instinct yanked her awake. She opened her eyes and found Xiao Yi's dark, cold gaze fixed on her. She immediately crossed both arms over her chest. "What are you looking at?" His eyes turned dangerous. "Did I say anything last night?" Ansholi thought for a moment. "Yeah." Murder flickered across his face. "What did I say?" She answered with deadly seriousness. "You said you shouldn't have brought me back to Taiping Mountain, and that you'd let me leave today." The darkness in his eyes cleared, and he let out a soft laugh. "Don't even think about it. Help me up." Ansholi rolled her eyes but helped him sit up. "Burn the bridge, just like that. I should have let him burn to death last night." Just as Xiao Yi was settled, the assistant knocked and stepped in, phone in hand. "Mr. Xiao, old Master Xiao called. He wants you to come home for dinner." Xiao Yi's expression went dark. "Does he know I'm injured?" The assistant shook his head. "Probably not. He just said you haven't been home in a while and wanted you to eat with him." Xiao Yi relaxed a fraction. "Got it." Ansholi stood and said to the assistant, "I haven't slept all night. I'm going to rest. Find someone else to take care of Mr. Xiao." The assistant didn't answer. He looked at Xiao Yi. Xiao Yi nodded. Only then did the assistant say, "Yes, Ansholi stretched, yawned, and walked out. She didn't go to her room. She headed downstairs. She was hungry after the long night. Time to eat. The moment she reached the first floor, she spotted a maid sitting on the sofa, chatting with a pretty girl in a white dress. The maid noticed her and stood immediately, smiling. "Missin." Ansholi stopped and looked at her curiously. The maid led the girl over. "You worked so hard taking care of a Yi all night. This is my niece, Jingjing. She'll help take care of Mr. Xiao from now on." Ansholi's brows lifted. Jackpot. She sized Jingjing up. The girl was petite and fair-skinned, with curly lashes and dark hair cascading like a cloud. She stood quietly, delicate as a white flower. Ansholi smiled and grabbed her hand. "Mr. Xiao is all yours." Jingjing blushed, her cheeks flushing as a shy smile formed. 2 sweet dimples dented her cheeks. Ansholi looked at her. The girl was like a little bunny, even she found her adorable. Men wouldn't stand a chance. Xiao Yi's a lucky guy with Jingjing around. He probably wouldn't need her anymore. Ansholi forgot about breakfast. She pulled out her phone and called the driver. "Come pick me up now." Then she turned and headed back upstairs. The maid watched her go and sneered. "At least she knows her place." Jingjing looked at her aunt, worry creasing her brow. "Auntie, will Mr. Xiao like me?" The maid gazed at her with tender affection, tucking a stray strand of hair behind her ear. She smiled. "Our Jingjing is young, pretty, and sweet-tempered. What man wouldn't?" Don't worry, while a Yi is recovering, you take good care of him. He'll fall for you. Once you become the Lady of Taiping Mountain, our family will have all the wealth and luxury we could ever want. Jingjing nodded, a small smile playing on her lips. I'll do everything you say, Auntie. And Xiaoli went back to her room and picked out 2 jewelry sets. Tiezi had rented a place nearby ever since he'd learned she was staying on Taiping Mountain. He showed up within minutes of her call. She climbed into the car, and Tiezi hit the gas, heading down the mountain. You're staying in the capital a while now, boss. You really need your own car, he said. What if something comes up and I'm not around? Nobody to pick you up. And Xiaoli sighed internally. It wasn't that she didn't want to buy one. She just couldn't afford it. She was so broke she was about to sell off the jewelry Xiao Yuan had given her. Before she could answer, Tiezi added, how about I give you my car? I'll just buy another one. No, and Xiaoli refused. Save your money for finding a wife. Tiezi's face flushed. Boss, I'm only 19. What wife? Seriously, just take the car. And Xiaoli didn't give in. We'll see. Tiezi had saved up some money back in the Blood Moon Assassin organization, but that was cash earned risking his life. Since he'd followed her to the capital, he'd only been spending, not earning. And Xiaoli wasn't about to take his car. They drove to a women's boutique in the heart of the city. The storefront was huge, the lights dazzling, the decor dripping with luxury. One glance told you nothing in there was cheap. And Xiaoli walked up to the front desk. I'm here to see Li Jiao. The receptionist was a tall young woman with flawless makeup. She looked Xiaoli up and down and let out a faint snort. Our boss is busy. She doesn't see random strays off the street. And Xiaoli frowned. She was dressed in casual wear and white sneakers today, looking ordinary, but every piece was insanely expensive. How had Li Jiao ended up hiring a salesgirl who couldn't spot quality if it hit her in the face? She didn't bother arguing. She pulled out her phone and called Li Jiao. I'm at the store. Li Jiao's voice came through, brimming with cheer. Be right there. 5 minutes later, Li Jiao swept in. The salesgirl's face went pale when she saw that a single call from Xiaoli had summoned the boss. Li Jiao spotted Xiaoli and pounced on her with a bear hug. Princess, what brings you here today? Xiaoli smiled. Need your help with something. Li Jiao let her go but kept holding her hand. What is it? Xiaoli didn't answer directly. Instead, she tilted her chin toward the salesgirl. She said, you're too busy to see random strays off the street. The smile vanished from Li Jiao's face. Who do you think you are, talking about my princess like that? She snapped. You're fired. Get out now. The salesgirl slunk away, face burning with shame. Li Jiao turned back, grabbing Xiaoli's arm with a laugh. Don't be mad, princess. She's new, hasn't been trained yet. I promise it won't happen again. Xiaoli let it go. I have something for you. Li Jiao tugged her toward the lounge. What is it? Xiaoli sat down on the couch and pulled out 2 velvet boxes. Help me sell these. Li Jiao took them, opened one, and her eyes lit up. Wow, limited edition. These aren't easy to get. A guy give them to you. Xiaoli's gaze flickered. Something like that. Just sell them. Li Jiao smiled, all charm. No wonder. That man must be crazy about you, princess. Xiaoli thought of Xiao Yuan's insufferable arrogance and rolled her eyes. Not a chance. He's just got too much money. Li Jiao just smiled knowingly. Princess didn't see what was right in front of her. Don't worry, that I'll take care of it, she said. Then Li Jiao switched gears. Oh, by the way, those designs you gave me last time, they sold like crazy, made a killing. When can you whip up some new ones? Let's cash in while the momentum's hot. And Xioli had been too busy to sketch lately. I'll see what I can do. Li Jiao checked the time. Almost noon. She slid over and wrapped her arms around Xioli's arm, pouting. Princess, it's been forever since we ate together. Do you owe me the honor of lunch today? Xioli laughed. Sure, my beautiful boss lady. Up on Taiping Mountain, Xiao Yuan hadn't let his injury stop him from working. Xiaoli had brought in a stack of documents for his signature, and several top executives had trekked up specifically to report in person. By the time the assistant knocked and came in, it was nearly lunchtime. Mr. Xiao, time to eat and rest. Xiao Yuan glanced at the clock. He'd been at it for hours. He closed the folder in his hand and handed it to Xiaoli. Follow what I said, come to me if there's a problem. Xiaoli took the stack with a respectful nod. Understood. He turned and left the room. Xiao Yuan looked at the assistant. Tell Xiaoli to bring me lunch. The assistant's mouth opened, then closed. He bit back whatever he'd been about to say and just answered, yes, sir, before heading out. Xiaoli was long gone. Let someone else take the heat. No way was he walking into that minefield. Xiao Yuan leaned back against the headboard, flipping through a work proposal. About 10 minutes later, the door opened. Without looking up, his voice was cold and irritated. Are you a turtle? Takes you that long just to bring food? Mr. Xiao, a soft, timid voice filled the room. Xiao Yuan's head snapped up. Liang Xini stood at the foot of the bed, tray in hand, looking nervous. His gaze sharpened. Who let you in? Where's Xiaoli? Liang Xini's cheeks flushed at the sight of his handsome face. Auntie never said he was this good-looking, more handsome than any man she'd ever seen. She gathered her courage, took a few steps closer to the bed, and offered a gentle smile. Sister and had to go out. She asked me to take care of you. Xiao Yuan's face darkened like a thunderstorm. Xiaoli sent you? Liang Xini nodded, smiling. That's right. She set the tray on the nightstand, picked up a bowl of soup, scooped a spoonful, and held it to his lips, her expression sweet and tender. Mr. Xiao, have some soup. It'll help your wounds heal faster. The Starry Sky theme restaurant was designed for romance, and tonight it delivered. Xiaoli and Xie Ying sat by the window, the table spread with exquisite dishes. Xiaoli did most of the eating. Xie Ying propped her chin on one hand, swirling red wine with the other, looking effortlessly seductive. She watched Xiaoli with pure adoration. God, she loved this girl. 6 months ago, when she first met the young lady, Xie Ying had lost her business, was drowning in debt, and stood on a rooftop ready to end it all. She was completely broken, no reason left to live. Just as she was about to step off the edge, a clear voice rang out behind her. Want to work with me instead? Stunned, she turned. The young lady stood there in a white dress, bathed in light, hand extended. Her face was calm, her skin pale as snow, her eyes stunningly bright. She looked young, but something about her gave Xie Ying a thread of strength. Almost in a trance, she reached out and took that slender wrist. In just 6 months. Guided by the young lady, Xie Ying had paid off every debt, now she was making money for her. The young lady was beautiful, smart, kind, adorable. She was exactly what her name meant, a ray of morning light piercing the darkness. Too bad she wasn't a guy. Otherwise, Xie Ying would happily simp for her forever. Actually, no, even as a woman, she'd simp for this girl forever. Watching Xioli eat so happily, Xie Ying felt overjoyed. She smiled. Young lady, is it good? Should I order more? Xioli's mouth was stuffed like a little hamster. She shook her head. No, it's too much. I'd waste it. Xie Ying's eyes softened. As long as you're happy, a little waste is fine. I've got the money. Xioli grabbed her juice, took a sip, and let out a satisfied burp. I'm seriously full. Her phone rang on the table. She set the juice down and checked the caller. Xiao Zhu. She frowned. Never good news. She answered, and Xiao Zhu's wailing voice exploded through the speaker. Missen, get back here, something huge happened. Xioli was confused. Then call Mr. Xiao. He's the owner of Taiping Mountain. Why are you calling me? Xiao Zhu sobbed. It's Mr. Xiao who's in trouble. Xioli's patience thinned. What now? Mr. Xiao said. Xiao Zhu mimicked Xiao Yi's ominous tone. Tell Aunt Xioli if she doesn't get her ass back here, I'll break her legs. A beat. Missen, he's furious. Please, come back. Xioli hung up, irritation flooding her face. How was this guy still full of energy when he'd been stabbed? Couldn't she have one moment of peace? What's wrong? Xie Ying asked, concern in her voice. Xioli wiped her mouth and stood. Nothing, the family dog is having a fit. Can you give me a ride? Xie Ying flashed a charming smile. My pleasure, young lady. Xie Ying sped the whole way back to Taiping Mountain. Xioli hurried upstairs to Xiao Yi's room. The instant she opened the door, a chill hit her. Not a good sign. She steadied herself and walked in. Xiao Yi was propped against the headboard, his face dark and murderous. His eyes were frozen blades, one look could flay you alive. On the floor beside the bed, Liang Xini sat crumpled, eyes red, tears streaming silently. She was covered in soup, pathetic and fragile. A real damsel in distress. Xiao Zhu and Sun Xing stood in the room too, both pale as ghosts, like they'd just survived a bloodbath. This was worse than Xioli had imagined. She took a quiet breath and walked in as if nothing was wrong. What happened? Why is Xini on the floor? She stepped over and helped Liang Xini up. Xini shot her a grateful look, still trembling. Xiao Yi's sharp gaze locked onto Xioli, his eyes dark with fury. And Xioli, do I need to spell it out? You think you can play me like this? His voice was strong. That knife must not have gone deep enough. Xioli stared at him, confused. Play you? How the hell would I play you? Xiao Yi pointed at Liang Xini, his voice harsh. You tell me you fell in love at first sight, that you adore me, then you send another woman to take care of me. Get close to me. What's your angle? Xioli's scalp tingled. Lying was going to kill her. Why had she made up that stupid story? And the worst part, Xiao Yi had actually bought it. If he found out she'd lied, she'd be in serious trouble. She wasn't afraid to fight, but she hated drama, and she still hadn't made An Shangxing pay. She had to keep playing along. In an instant, her eyes reddened. She pouted, her voice trembling. Why are you yelling at me? I was worried about your wound. I ran all over town getting you medicine. I asked Cinny to look after you because I didn't want you alone. That's so wrong. Xiao Yi didn't answer. He just stared at her, cold, clearly not buying it. Surely kept spinning. I went to so many places to find good medicine. I worked my ass off. I didn't even stop for lunch. And you yell at me? She finished a little too fast and let out a burp. Quickly, she covered her mouth, turning away guiltily. Crap. She'd eaten way too much at lunch. Hope he didn't notice. Xiao Yi's deep eyes stayed fixed on her guilty expression. Damn, she was cute. The cold air around him began to fade. His expression softened. He asked, his voice low, "Where's the medicine?" Relieved he hadn't caught on, Shirley pulled a small porcelain bottle from her pocket and handed it over. Here. Xiao Yi took the bottle, opened it to check, then looked up at her. It's been used. Shirley's gaze flickered. I tested it on myself first, had to make sure it was safe. She paused. What, you don't want it? Fine. Give it back. It cost me a fortune. She reached to grab it. This medicine was a rare blend of a dozen herbs from Dr. Jin. Only one bottle existed, incredible for external wounds. She didn't want to waste it on Xiao Yi, but he pulled his hand back, clutching the bottle tight. You apply it. Xiao Zhu and Sun Xing exchanged a look, then wisely dragged Liang Xinyi out of the room. As the door shut, they shook their heads. Such a lame lie. And the boss actually bought it. Guess love really does make you blind. Literally. Shirley sat reluctantly on the edge of the bed. She unwrapped the gauze around Xiao Yi's wound. It was already scabbing over. Sun Xing must have used good medicine too. She scooped out a tiny bit of paste and pressed it onto his wound with a little extra force. Take that for yelling at me. Oh. Xiao Yi winced, frowning. Easy. Shirley pouted but lightened her touch. If his wound split open, she'd waste her medicine. She stared at the wound, remembering her suspicion, and couldn't help asking, Mr. Xiao, was it a woman who stabbed you? Xiao Yi said nothing. Shirley glanced up. His face was dark, lips pressed tight. She smiled. She'd guessed right. As she continued applying the medicine, she murmured, Mr. Xiao, lust is a blade. Before she could finish, his cold voice cut her off from above. Shut up. Liu Jingxian stood at her window, eyes locked on the main building. Liang Xinyi had gone in to bring Xiao Yuan his dinner over an hour ago. She still hadn't come out. Liu Jingxian's eyes lit up. Maybe the two of them were already tangled up in a blaze of passion. No. Xiao Yuan was badly injured. He couldn't manage that. Still, the fact that he hadn't sent her away meant something. He'd let Xinyi stay, and Xinyi was gorgeous. It only made sense Xiao Yuan would take an interest, which meant the vast Xiao family fortune would end up in Liu Jingxian's hands after all. The thought lifted her spirits instantly. That move had been the right one. Liang Xinyi had a soft temperament. Taiping Mountain would stay firmly under Liu Jingxian's control. Humming a tune, she headed for the door, already planning to check on things in the main building. She barely made it to the threshold before the door swung open from the outside. Liang Xinyi stumbled in, disheveled and shaking. Liu Jingxian's gaze dropped to the soup stains dripping down her niece's clothes. Xinyi, what happened? Liang Xinyi looked at her aunt, eyes reddening before she burst into tears. Auntie, Mr. Xiao is terrifying. I can't handle him. One look told Liu Jingxian exactly what had happened. He kicked you out? Liang Xini shook her head, still sobbing. Xiao Yuan had knocked the soup aside and then completely ignored her. But the energy radiating off him in that room was too much, crushing. She would have preferred he'd thrown her out. At least then she wouldn't have had to endure over an hour of that silent torment. Liu Jingxian patted her arm. If he didn't throw you out, you still have a chance. Use your sincerity, soften his heart. Liang Xini shook her head frantically, tears streaming. Auntie, I really can't do this. I want to go home, please. I just want to go home. She was still trembling. This place terrified her. She didn't want to stay a single second longer. Liu Jingxian studied her, saw the genuine fear, and accepted the obvious. This pawn was useless now. All right, I'll have someone take you home. Go take a bath first. Change your clothes. The moment Liang Xini disappeared into the bathroom, Liu Jingxian's face went dark. Useless. That pretty, and she still couldn't handle one man. She'd have to find another way. She walked to the sofa, sat down, and folded her arms, thinking hard. Then she sat up straight. Got it. After she'd applied the ointment that first time, the job of changing Xiao Yuan's bandages fell entirely to Anxioli. She still used the medicine she'd bought herself. At least Xiao Yuan had a conscience when he found out. She'd spent hundreds of thousands on it. He transferred her 5.2 million without a second thought. Anxioli came out ahead by a mile, and suddenly applying his medicine didn't feel like such a chore. On top of that, the 2 jewelry sets she'd given Li Jiao to sell had brought in another 15 million. She figured she might as well adjust her mindset and start treating Xiao Yuan like her personal ATM. That evening, while changing her personal ATM's bandages, she decided it was time to negotiate. Mr. Xiao, I need to go out tomorrow. I'm taking the day off. The family banquet was launching new dishes, and she had plans to meet Pei Tianming and Pan Jichu. Xiao Yuan's expression turned sour instantly. What could be more important than taking care of me? Anxioli set down the medicine bottle and looked at him directly. Mr. Xiao, I'm not the type of woman who builds her whole life around a man. I have my own things to handle. Xiao Yuan stared at her, his gaze dark. And if I say no? Anxioli didn't flinch. Then neither of us gets what we want. Xiao Yuan held her stare, jaw tight. He ran his tongue along his back teeth. Are you threatening me? I'm suggesting we find a way to coexist that works for both of us. Xiao Yuan said nothing. His eyes turned cold and sharp, locked onto hers. She didn't back down. She met his stare with perfect calm. The air between them thickened, charged, and silent. Finally, Xiao Yuan relented. Be back on Taiping Mountain by 6. Anxioli let out a quiet breath. She'd been ready for the worst-case scenario. Him flat out refusing, having to force her way off this mountain. She nodded okay. Xiao Yuan added, sleep with me tonight. Still riding the high of getting her way, Anxioli nearly nodded without thinking. The word okay was halfway out before she caught herself. Her arms flew up, crossing tight over her chest. I sell my blood, not my body. Xiao Yuan reached out and tapped her forehead with his index finger. Hard annoyance flickered across his face. Where is your mind going? That kind of good fortune, I wouldn't waste it on you. Anxioli kept her arms crossed, nose scrunching. Good fortune. What exactly was he implying she'd be lucky to get? Then what do you mean? Xiao Yuan tugged the blanket up to his chest like he was afraid she might suddenly covet his body. I don't sleep well at night. You stay, fetch me water when I need it. So she was supposed to be his personal nightmaid. Fine. Maid it was. As long as she got to go to the family banquet tomorrow, Tian Sholi said. Deal. After showering in her own room, Sholi grabbed her sketchpad and pencils and came back to Xiao Yuan's room. The space was enormous. With a large desk set by the window, she spread her supplies across it and said, I'll be here, call if you need anything. Xiao Yuan was already propped against the headboard, reviewing documents. He glanced up, voice flat. Fine. And Sholi didn't say another word. She sat down, bent her head, and started sketching clothing designs. Li Jiao needed new styles soon. She had to get the drawings to her as fast as possible. For a moment, the room fell perfectly quiet. Moonlight streamed through the gauze curtains. The chirp of insects mingled with the soft breeze drifting through the window, filling the silence with something alive. Every so often, Xiao Yuan lifted his head to look at her. His gaze would linger on her focused silhouette for a beat before dropping back to the documents in his hands. A faint smile tugged at the corner of his mouth. He didn't even notice it. The night deepened. The insects gradually fell quiet. Xiao Yuan closed his folder and looked up, his lips parted. And Sholi. I'm thirsty. Oh, coming. She set down her pencil, poured him a glass of warm water, and handed it over. Once he'd drunk, she went straight back to the desk and immersed herself in her sketches. Xiao Yuan watched her back, fingers tapping lightly against the blanket. Casually he asked, What are you drawing? And Sholi didn't turn around. She didn't even lift her head. A drawing. Dismissed. Just like that, Xiao Yuan's brow darkened. I want to sleep. Oh. She reached up and switched off the main light, leaving only the warm glow of the small desk lamp. Go ahead and rest. I won't disturb you. She bent over her design again immediately. Xiao Yuan frowned hard. What kind of sketch was so important it couldn't wait? His voice came out flat. And Sholi. I can't sleep. Sing me something. The hand holding the pencil tightened. She could tell exactly what he was doing, picking a fight, but small sacrifice, bigger gain, she reminded herself. Personal ATM. Then she put on her most patient smile, walked over to the bed, and sat beside him. What song do you want to hear? Xiao Yuan kept his eyes closed. Whatever. Biting back her irritation, and Sholi started humming a lullaby. One her mother used to sing her to sleep with. Little baby, sleep so tight, I'll be with you through the night. Laugh with you, share your strain, by your side I will remain. As she sang, her eyelids grew heavier. Gradually her voice softened, faded, until it stopped entirely. She slumped against the headboard, fast asleep. Xiao Yuan heard the sound dwindle into silence. He opened his eyes. He turned onto his side, cheek resting on his hand, gaze tracing the shape of her in the dim light. The night breeze stirred the curtains, sending a strand of hair sliding across her forehead. Xiao Yuan reached out and brushed it gently aside. The pad of his finger grazed her warm skin. It felt like touching a flower blooming alone in the dark. A small smile touched his lips. Good night, and Sholi. He closed his eyes, and slowly, he drifted off. That night, no nightmares came. Maybe the darkness wasn't the enemy after all. The next morning, Xiao Liu pulled up at the foot of Taiping Mountain and waited. It didn't take long. The heavy iron gates opened with a low groan, and an Ruoxi stepped out. She wore a white dress so sheer it floated around her like fresh snow. The square neckline revealed the elegant line of her collarbones, and the gathered waist made her slender figure look effortlessly refined. Sunlight filtered through the gauzy layers, surrounding her in a soft glow. She looked almost untouchable. Xiao Liu's mouth fell open. His boss wasn't real. He didn't snap out of it until she slid into the passenger seat and shut the door. An Ruoxi laughed, low and easy. What? Did you freeze up or something? Xiao Liu turned to her, and his eyes went red. Boss, you should be wearing stuff like this every day, living like a princess without a care in the world. Instead, His voice cracked. He couldn't finish. He was the only one who knew what she'd survived these past 4 years. The kind of hardship most people could never endure. She was supposed to be the pampered heiress, but she'd gritted her teeth and built her own road anyway. Tien Ruoxi reached over and patted his shoulder, her smile still in place. I'm not upset, so what are you getting emotional for? I like my life the way it is. She'd clawed her way to power. She did what she wanted now. No more hiding in anyone's shadow. She shifted gears, voice light. Is the big gift for Nchuchu ready? Xiao Liu pulled himself together fast and grinned. Don't worry. Everything's set. She's going to have a birthday she won't forget anytime soon. A cold gleam flickered through An Ruoxi's eyes. Her revenge started with Nchuchu in Xiao Yuan's room. Wei Xian and Li Feng knocked once and stepped inside. Wei Xian blinked. Xiao Yuan was already standing by the window. Wei Xian hurried over. President Xiao, what are you doing up? That wound needs more time to heal. Xiao Yuan didn't turn around. His gaze was locked on something outside, and his voice came out flat. I know my own body. Wei Xian knew better than to push. At least let me change the bandage. Xiao Yuan didn't move. His eyes narrowed, his expression darkening. All dressed up like that just to run errands? Something was off. His voice dropped. Li Feng, find out where An Ruoxi went. Li Feng's mouth curved. No need. I asked before she left. She said she's having lunch at Tianhuan Royal Banquet. Tianhuan Royal Banquet. Xiao Yuan frowned. That place requires a membership and a full asset verification. Can she even get through the door? Li Feng shrugged. No idea. Maybe somebody's treating her. Xiao Yuan's gaze went cold. So that explained the dress. He turned from the window. Bring the car around. We're going to Tianhuan Royal Banquet. Wei Xian stepped forward. President Xiao, your injury. Xiao Yuan was already moving toward the walk-in closet, completely unconcerned. I'll live. On the outskirts of the city, Tianhuan Royal Banquet rose like a palace. 4 floors, but they only served 3 tables a day, 1 per upper floor. The ground level kept emptied. It was legendary for imperial level service, ingredients worthy of a museum, and a chef who'd once cooked for state banquets. Minimum spend per person, 100,000 yuan, the priciest dining in Imperial City. The house record was 50 million yuan in a single day. Even so, people fought for a membership. Dining there wasn't about the food. It was proof you'd arrived. Xiao Liu went to park the car while Ruoxi waited by the entrance. A black Rolls-Royce glided to the curb, and 3 women in elegant gowns stepped out. Ruoxi watched them approach, a cold smile curling at the corner of her mouth. Showtime. She knew all 3. Center was her dear cousin, and Chu. To her left, Jiang Yang, the Jiang family's second daughter. To her right, Xu Zihong, the Xu family's eldest. The 2 of them had been Chu's shadows since their school days. The trio stopped at the entrance, and Jiang Yang's eyes went huge as she took in the ornate facade. Chu, you're a member here. That's insane. I heard the asset verification requires over 2 billion in liquid funds. And Chu tipped her head with a practiced, demure smile. It's not me. Brother Tianqi invited me for my birthday. Xu Zihong let out an envious sigh. Chu, you are seriously the luckiest person alive. A top pop diva at your age, a movie star fiancé who's crazy about you. You have everything. And Chu lifted her chin, smug. Tianqi isn't my fiancé yet. We haven't formally gotten engaged. Jiang Yang leaned in. Please. You're the new queen of pop, gorgeous, from an elite family. Every major corporation in Imperial City is probably lining up for a marriage alliance with the Yin family, and I heard that actor Pei watches you like a hawk, terrified you'll slip away. And Chu neither confirmed nor denied it, just let the smile linger. Tianqi treats me very well. He said he has a surprise for me at the party tonight. A surprise, and Ruoxi overheard and couldn't hold back a quiet laugh, more like a shock. The sound drew Jiang Yang's attention. She turned, and her eyes flew open like she'd seen a ghost. And Ruoxi. The name made Chu whip around, her face draining of color. And Ruoxi, you're alive. And Ruoxi folded her arms and sauntered toward them, a grin spreading across her face. Sister, disappointed I didn't die. Venom flickered behind Chu's eyes. That little bitch does so stubborn. After 4 years, she'd assumed Ruoxi was dead and buried, but one lone survivor wasn't enough to threaten her. She forced a chilly smile. What are you talking about, little sister? We're family. Of course I'm happy you're alive. And Ruoxi looked her over, taking her time. That expression on your face doesn't exactly scream happy. Jiang Yang and Xu Zihong both knew the family history. They'd been careful in the past, never daring to cross Ruoxi because of her status, but now Chu was the heiress of an group, and Ruoxi was just the fallen daughter. Jiang Yang stepped forward, voice sharp. Ruoxi, Chu is your sister. How dare you speak to her like that? Xu Zihong jumped in right after. Seriously. She's genuinely worried about you, and you throw it back in her face. What is wrong with you? And Ruoxi lifted a finger and made a lazy show of digging at her ear. Wow, you hear that? Sounds like a couple of stray dogs yapping. So noisy. Xu Zihong's face twisted. Who are you calling a dog? And Ruoxi smiled, sweet as sugar. Whoever barked first. You. Xu Zihong lunged forward, hand raised to slap her. Chu didn't lift a finger to stop it. She just watched, lips pressed into a thin, contemptuous sneer. Go ahead. Hit her. As far as Chu was concerned, and Ruoxi wasn't even worth the dirt under a stray dog's paw now. Under the shade of a tree near the entrance of Qianhuan Royal Banquet, a black Bentley Continental idled. Liu Jiangbo gripped the wheel and, spotting Wu Jingyi winding up to swing at Ansholi, straightened in his seat. "President Xiao, should we step in for Miss N?" Xiao Yuan remained reclined, watching through the window. He caught the sharp little gleam in Ansholi's eyes, and the corner of his mouth lifted. "No need." The word had barely left his lips when Liu Jiangbo saw Ansholi drive her right foot into Wu Jingyi's stomach. Wu Jingyi let out a choked scream and flew backward. Liu Jiangbo stared. A leg that slim, and it hit like a battering ram. She actually sent someone airborne. Liu Jingxian and Li Yaqing stood frozen too. Since when did Ansholi pack that kind of punch? Li Yaqing scrambled over and hauled Wu Jingyi upright. Wu Jingyi clutched her midsection, her face drained of color. Li Yaqing whirled on her. "Ansholi, you think you can just hit people?" Ansholi's eyes were ice. She stepped toward Li Yaqing and raised a fist. "Keep talking, and I'll hit you too." That kick had already rattled Wu Jingyi. She shrank behind Li Yaqing without a sound. Li Yaqing met Ansholi's flat stare. Something in the girl's presence had shifted, and she backed up 2 steps without meaning to. Liu Jingxian watched Ansholi strut like she owned the sidewalk, her own fists clenching, her gaze poisonous. "Jingxian." A gentle male voice cut through. Pei Tianming had arrived. He wore an expensive custom white suit, tall and lean, his features distractingly handsome. He carried himself with that polished, gentlemanly ease. In a heartbeat, Liu Jingxian's whole demeanor flipped. She became the picture of poised elegance, every inch the refined young lady. She lifted her eyes to Pei Tianming and breathed, "Brother Tianming." Pei Tianming noticed Wu Jingyi clutching her stomach. He frowned. "What's wrong with her? Is she not feeling well?" Liu Jingxian glided to his side and threw a timid glance at Ansholi. "My sister hit her. I was so relieved to see she was alive. I tried to look after her, but she didn't appreciate it. She just started swinging." Pei Tianming followed her gaze and finally spotted Ansholi. Shock flickered across his face, then a flash of joy. "Sholi. You're alive." "Sholi." Inside the Bentley, Xiao Yuan's expression went dark. He twisted the ring on his finger in a slow, idle motion, his face turning savage. Ansholi looked at Pei Tianming and felt nothing. After the accident that took her parents and brother, she'd been alone and desperate. She called him, her fiancé, begging for help. He said he was on his way, but Pei Tianming never showed. A team of mercenaries did. If she hadn't sensed something was wrong after hours of waiting and hidden herself in time, she'd be in the ground with her family right now. After she returned to Imperial City, she learned that not long after she disappeared, Pei Tianming had taken up with Liu Jingxian. And Old Master and swift takeover of the In group, that had Pei Tianming's fingerprints all over it. When Pei Tianming got no response, he reached for her hand. "Sholi, what's wrong?" And Sholi stepped back and snapped, "Don't touch me." Liu Jingxian watched them, grinding her teeth so hard her jaw ached. That bastard still had feelings buried for this bitch. But what was Ansholi now? Pei Tianming was hers. She grabbed his arm, her face a mask of concern. "Brother Tianming, be careful. Sister's been through a lot. She's not herself. She might hit you." Still cradling her stomach, Wu Jingyi jumped in. "Yeah, Pei, Look what she did to me. My stomach is killing me. Liu Jingxian said quickly. I'll have someone take you to the hospital. Wu Jingyi put on a pained, apologetic face. Jingxian, I'm sorry I can't stay for your birthday. I'm honestly in agony. Liu Jingxian looked guilty. I'm sorry on my sister's behalf. She's young. She doesn't know any better. Please don't hold it against her. Wu Jingyi threw in Xiuli a venomous glare. Jingxian, you're too kind. Your sister's changed. I think she's got violent tendencies. You need to watch yourself. The shameless double act was so ridiculous and Xiuli actually laughed. She walked over, and before Liu Jingxian or Wu Jingyi could flinch, she slapped each of them once. That's right, violent tendencies. I'm gonna beat you two fake-ass saints to death. Liu Jingxian's cheek stung and fury boiled in her veins. She pretended to panic and buried herself in Pei Tianming's arms. Brother Tianming, please, my sister's gone crazy. Pei Tianming stared at Xiuli's wild behavior, his face collapsing into disappointment. He barked, Xiuli, enough, look at yourself. You're acting like a lunatic. Apologize to your sister and Wu Jingyi right now. Apologize. His ASSTN Xiuli walked straight up to him and slapped him across the face. What I've become is none of your goddamn business, you heartless bastard. The force whipped Pei Tianming's head to the side. He cupped his cheek, staring at her in disbelief. Xiuli. I'm your brother Pei, the one you adored, and you hit me? Liu Jingxian heard that and panicked that old feelings might stir. She said quickly, Brother Tianming, it's my birthday. Let's just let it go and head inside. Pei Tianming looked genuinely wounded by the slap. His expression sagged back then, and Xiuli had practically worshipped him. Her favorite thing to say was, Brother Pei, you're the most handsome, most amazing person in the world. I like you so much. How had she turned into this? Liu Jingxian tugged on his arm when he didn't answer. Brother Tianming, we should go inside now. Pei Tianming snapped out of it and looked at Liu Jingxian's gentle face. The sight eased his mood a little. Jingxian was warm, kind, graceful, and so talented, already a music sensation at her age. He nodded. All right. They ignored Xiuli and headed straight for the entrance. Xiuli folded her arms and followed, a mocking smile tugging at her lips. Pei Tianming, just wait. I'll show you exactly who Liu Jingxian really is. At the entrance of Qianhuan Royal Banquet, a salesperson was verifying guest identities. Pei Tianming was cleared and Liu Jingxian linked her arm through his. Gliding inside, Pei Tianming's bodyguard had already taken Wu Jingyi to the hospital. Li Yaqing trailed behind them when she spotted Xiuli following. She couldn't resist an opportunity to humiliate her. Xiuli had just slapped Jingxian and Pei Tianming. If Li Yaqing could make her look pathetic, she might earn points with both of them, right? The Yin family and the Pei family were major conglomerates. If the Li family could climb onto those two trees, the future had no limits. She stopped and pointed at Xiuli, speaking to the salesperson. She's not with us. Make sure she doesn't sneak in. The salesperson glanced at Xiuli, then murmured into her walkie-talkie. VIP guest arriving. Liu Jingxian saw a chance to shine in front of Pei Tianming. She gave a warm, gracious smile. It's fine. She's my sister. Let her through. I'll cover her expenses. Then she looked up at Pei Tianming. Brother Tianming, is that okay? Pei Tianming's opinion of Liu Jingxian's sword and surely had treated her like dirt, and she still didn't hold a grudge. How could anyone be this kind? And surely, all that old innocence and sweetness, gone. He threw and surely a look heavy with disappointment. Then he turned back to Liu Jingxian, warmth settling in his gaze. Whatever you want. Liu Jingxian looked back at Ansholi, her eyes sharp with challenge. Order whatever you like, little sister. Don't be shy. Given your situation now, you'll probably never set foot in a place this upscale again. Li Yaqing jumped right in, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Wow, some people are so lucky to have a sister as generous as Jingxian. And Ruoxi rolled her eyes and shoved past Jiang Yang on her way in. Idiot move. You. Jiang Yang stomped her foot. She whirled on and Chu-Chu, outraged. Chu-Chu, look at her, you've been nothing but kind, and she couldn't care less. Pei Tianchi's face darkened and Chu-Chu was secretly thrilled, but she kept up her act. Don't say that. My sister's all alone now. It hasn't been easy for her. Just then, hurried footsteps echoed through the hall. Dozens of men and women in royal court attire streamed into the lobby and formed two neat rows. The effect was pure imperial procession, like something right out of a period drama. A beautiful woman dressed as a palace official stepped forward and announced, "Honored guest arrives." And Chu-Chu and Jiang Yang lit up. Jiang Yang beamed. "Chu-Chu, I've never seen anything this impressive. No wonder Tianhuan Royal Banquet is the place every rich family in Imperial City fights to get into." And Chu-Chu had been here a few times, but even she had never seen this. Her eyes sparkled as she looked at Pei Tianchi. "Tianchi, did you plan this for me? I absolutely love it. Who wouldn't want to feel like an emperor and empress for a night?" Royal treatment in real life was nothing like acting on set. The rush was addictive. Jiang Yang chimed in, "No wonder the front desk said an important guest was coming. Only Pei Tianchi has that kind of pull. Even the president probably never got this treatment." Pei Tianchi frowned slightly. This had never happened before, but seeing Chu-Chu so happy, he smiled. "Glad you like it." Jiang Yang elbowed Chu-Chu. "Pei Tianchi is so good to you. I'm so jealous." And Chu-Chu shot him a shy glance. "This is the best birthday I've ever had." And Ruoxi snorted inwardly. "Let's see how happy you are in a minute." Zheng Jingyan arrived a little late and bowed low in Ruoxi's direction. "Honored eldest miss." And Chu-Chu recognized him. He used to be the in-family's steward. Shangxing had once asked him to serve their household, but he'd refused. It turned out he was the owner of Tianhuan Royal Banquet. He clearly had some real skill. Because the restaurant was explosively popular, famous people from all walks of life dined here. Rumor had it the place had deep connections, so nobody dared to make trouble. Still, after such a respectful address, and Chu-Chu felt a surge of superiority. She looked down at him and said, "Manager Zheng, lead the way." Jiang Yang's eyes went wide. "Chu-Chu, you actually know the owner of Tianhuan Royal Banquet?" And Chu-Chu feigned modesty. "He used to be our family's steward." Jiang Yang only grew more envious, and no wonder the in-group was such a big deal. Even this big-shot owner once worked for them. She puffed up her chest and ordered, "What are you standing around for? Take the eldest miss to her booth." Zheng Jingyan didn't even glance at them. He walked right past An Chu and stopped in front of An Ruoxi. He placed his hands at his waist and bowed nearly 90 degrees. Eldest miss, your booth is ready. An Ruoxi nodded and followed him inside. An Chu and her group stood frozen, stunned. Had he really meant An Ruoxi when he said honored guest? Impossible, she was just a penniless, washed-up heiress. Jiang Yang couldn't hold back. Hey, are you mixing people up? The An family's real eldest miss is An Chu. Who the hell does An Ruoxi think she is? Zheng Jingyan turned around, his face stern. The eldest miss is the owner of this restaurant. Show some respect. Pei Tianqi was taken aback. How did An Ruoxi have the clout to run a place like this? An Chu was equally shocked. She couldn't stand the thought of An Ruoxi climbing over her right now. Her face went cold. Do you know who we are? Aren't you afraid of offending the Pei family and the An family? Zheng Jingyan showed no fear. You can try. Then he added, and for the record, I am the An family's steward. But I serve only one master, An Shengnan. If you don't want to eat here, feel free to leave. With that, he bowed again to An Ruoxi, his attitude completely transformed. Eldest miss, right this way. An Ruoxi shot a defiant look at An Chu and followed Zheng Jingyan toward her private booth on the first floor. The staff in the hall dispersed after they left. An Chu's mask finally cracked. Her face twisted with frustration. Jiang Yang fidgeted nervously. Chu, what now? I didn't expect An Ruoxi to be the owner of this place. Should we leave? This was her first time eating here, maybe her only time ever. She'd already bragged to everyone she knew if she walked out without tasting a single dish, she'd never be able to show her face again. An Chu was furious and wanted to bolt. But she had to maintain her gracious image, so she decided to let Pei Tianqi make the call. She put on a hurt expression. Tianqi, it's all my fault that I didn't realize my sister hated me so much that I've dragged you into this too. Should we still eat here? Pei Tianqi's face was tight, but there was a deposit to consider. He'd already put down 5 million. If they left now, that money was gone. Money wasn't the real issue. He had a surprise planned for An Chu. Don't let An Ruoxi ruin your birthday party. I've got a surprise for you. We'll stay here. Hearing how much he cared, An Chu felt better. She smiled sweetly. I can't wait. Inside Tianhuan Royal Banquet's small booth. The room wasn't huge, but it was exquisitely decorated and luxurious. An Ruoxi sat in the main seat, a chair carved from golden silk. Nanmu Zheng Jingyan stood beside her, personally serving her. The door opened, and a waitress in traditional costume came in carrying a tray. On it sat a celadon bowl with intricate floral patterns. Zheng Jingyan took the bowl and carefully placed it in front of An Ruoxi. Eldest miss, this is bird's nest soup made with snow fungus harvested from 1,000-year aloeswood and golden blood swallow nest. Please have some to soothe your throat. An Ruoxi's eyes were fixed on the large TV screen in front of her. Okay. The TV was showing surveillance footage from another booth. On the screen, An Chu and her party had just entered their private room. An Ruoxi picked up the bowl and took a spoonful of the soup. A cold smile flickered in her eyes. An Chu, after today, your reputation will be ruined across the entire imperial city. Pei Tianqi had reserved the third-floor private room. 300 square meters, the largest VIP space in all of Qianhuan Royal Banquet. Beyond the dining area, it boasted a sprawling dance floor. When Enchuchu pushed open the door, a series of loud pops went off, streamers and confetti rained down from the ceiling. "Happy birthday, baby Chu!" Dozens of voices shouted in unison. Enchuchu's eyes lit up with delighted surprise. These were her top fans and fansite organizers, the heavy hitters in her fandom. Celebrating her birthday with them would do wonders for her popularity and her commercial value. She turned to Pei Tianqi, her voice warm. "Tianqi, did you arrange all of this? Getting this many people together in one place wasn't easy. It took serious planning. The dance floor was covered in red roses, ribbons, and balloons. Someone had clearly gone all out." Pei Tianqi smiled and nodded. "You like it?" And Chu was so moved she threw her arms around him, her voice trembling. "Tianqi, thank you. I love it." The rumored relationship between Enchuchu and Pei Tianqi had been trending for years. Both were attractive, talented, and kept their private lives spotless. The fans had gradually accepted they were together, and by now, the CP fans outnumbered the solo stans. Seeing their intimate moment, plenty of people pulled out their phones. "A real couple is the sweetest. Pei spoils baby Chu rotten." Seriously, this is Qianhuan Royal Banquet, 6 figures ahead. Easy. He flew in 50 of her top fans for a birthday party. That's tens of millions. They're both from powerhouse conglomerates. It's like a real-life prince and princess. Just watching them stand together makes the air feel sweeter. With those looks and that status, they're the ultimate power couple in entertainment. Can you imagine their kids? They'd be stunning. Today is a holiday for CP fans. And Chu blushed at the compliments, but inside, she was flying high with this many witnesses to her love story with Pei Tianqi. A proposal had to be coming soon. And once she was tied to the Pei family, the in-family business would explode. Ruoxi ran nothing but a tiny restaurant now. She wouldn't be so smug for long. The smaller private room, the table was heaped with exquisite dishes. Xiao Liu had parked the car and slipped inside. He stared at the spread. He couldn't name half the things on the plates, and practically drooled. He turned to Zheng Jingyan, who stood nearby. "What are all these dishes called?" Zheng Jingyan smiled and started introducing them one by one. "This one is Dragon's Cry Beyond the Clouds. It's made with Himalayan ice snow lotus and the belly of deep-sea bluefin tuna. This one is golden aged scent. The meat comes from the prized 6 ounces of golden neck cut, taken from a 20-year-old black pig raised on Spain's Bilian Peninsula. And this one, enough." And Ruoxi cut him off. She shot Xiao Liu a look. "Just eat, you wouldn't understand it anyway." Xiao Liu grinned. "Boss is right. I don't have much schooling. As long as it tastes good." He grabbed a piece of bluefin tuna and popped it in his mouth. His eyes went wide. "Boss, this is incredible. Did you develop all these recipes?" And Ruoxi ignored him, completely unimpressed by his or Zheng Jingyan answered for her. Most of the signature dishes here were developed by the eldest miss. She's been eating fine cuisine since she was a child. Her palate is unusually sensitive. The old master used to say she has a king's tongue. She can tell good food from bad in a single bite. She put a tremendous amount of work into opening this restaurant. Xiao Liu gave Ruoxi a thumbs up between mouthfuls. You're the best, boss. Ruoxi said nothing. Her eyes were locked on the large screen in the room, which displayed the surveillance feed on the screen. The fans were showering Choo with gifts. She stood surrounded by a mountain of presents, smiling for photos. Then they cut the cake together and played games. One fansite operator was live-streaming the birthday party. The comment section overflowed with envy. Getting to celebrate with your idol in a place most people could never afford in a lifetime. It felt like a dream within minutes. Hundreds of thousands of viewers flooded the stream. Some came to see Choo, others came just to gawk at the restaurant. And the numbers kept climbing. Choo's smile never wavered. She looked genuinely happy. Ruoxi's eyes went cold. She turned to Xiao Liu. Tell your people to move. Xiao Liu was mid-bite, his mouth full. At her command, he pulled out his phone, still chewing. On it. He fired off a quick message to a contact. Moved. A moment later, on the monitor, a fan shouted, Baby Choo, it's such a special day, sing something for us, sing your hit. That ignited the whole room. Yes, I love hearing you sing. Your voice always hits me right in the soul. Do it, live. Diva, sing, diva, sing. Ruoxi watched the crowd's excitement build. A knowing smirk spread across her face. Diva, please. Choo couldn't carry a tune when she was a kid. If she was a singing sensation now, it was only because the voice behind the songs didn't belong to her. In the main room, Choo was still soaking in the birthday glow. Then the fans started chanting for her to sing. A flicker of panic crossed her face, but she recovered fast and forced a smile. This space is a little tight. Let's pick a bigger venue next time, okay? The fans wouldn't let it go. Baby Choo, the vibe is perfect. Please, just grant us this one little wish. I flew in from overseas, 12 hours, please. Just one song. I've been to all your concerts, they were breathtaking, but I've never heard you in such an intimate setting. This will be absolutely perfect. Diva, sing, diva, sing. The chant grew louder. Pei Tianqi looked at the eager crowd and smiled. Choo, they all want to hear you. Why not sing one? Jiang Yang jumped in. Don't be modest. Choo, you're the queen of pop. The second you open your mouth, you'll blow everyone away. For the first time, Choo wanted to strangle Jiang Yang for her flattery. Stupid woman. She couldn't sing. If she opened her mouth right now, everyone in that room would know the truth. What was she supposed to do? What the hell was she supposed to do? When it was obvious Li Yaqing wasn't going to say yes, someone reached over and turned on the booth sound system. Nobody saw who did it. The huge screen lit up with her biggest promo video. The beat dropped, and the place exploded. A fan grabbed a microphone off its stand, shoved it toward her, and pressed it into her hands. Yaqing baby, sing. Li Yaqing was trapped. Her heart slammed against her ribs. The cold metal might as well have been white hot. She wanted to hurl it across the room. Pei Tianming smiled at her, warm and easy, and nudged her shoulder. Go on, Yaqing. Let everyone see what my girlfriend can do. That word, girlfriend, hit like a lifeline. She and Pei Tianming had been circling each other for months. He treated her well. They acted like a couple in every way that mattered, but he'd never actually said it. Maybe because of her fame, maybe something else. Whatever the reason, the label had never stuck. That was exactly why Xiao kept pushing her to lock him down. Get the ring. Seal the deal. Hearing him say my girlfriend felt like being seen. Her singing was trash. Everyone knew it, but she had performed this song hundreds of times. Every concert, every showcase, she knew exactly how to sell it. All she had to do was fake it well enough, right? She gave Pei Tianming a soft smile. Okay, I'll sing. The fans erupted when she finally gave in. The room hummed with cheers and clapping along to the beat. On the fan forum's live broadcast, the comments started rolling in. There it is, Yachting Baby's angel voice. Been waiting for this all night. They say other singers cost money, but Yachting Baby costs lives. Her voice literally stops your heart. Li Yaching lifted the mic, caught the rhythm, and let her voice drift out. Someone lights the fireworks, someone chases the twilight wind, steal a breath of borrowed time, hold a piece of the starry sky. The clapping died. Fans glanced at each other, whispers rippled through the crowd. What is that noise? That doesn't sound like her at all. It's not even the tone, she's completely off-key. This is awful. Over on the broadcast, the chat went dead silent for a full second. Then it detonated. Wait, did Yachting Baby get possessed? What happened to her voice? I cranked my volume to hear every note, and my toddler started screaming. How does someone's singing just fall off a cliff? Can someone explain this? Unless she's been lip-syncing the whole time and this is what she actually sounds like. That comment landed like a match on gasoline. Now that I think about it, she only ever sings at concerts and in videos. She's never done a live performance. Pretty sure she's been faking her whole career. I've supported her for years. This is disgusting. Unfollowing right now. Calm down, fake fans. Maybe she just has a sore throat. No need to crucify her. Are you deaf or just delusional? A sore throat doesn't make someone tone-deaf. My 5-year-old sings better. The comment section turned into a battlefield. Back in the booth, the fans' expressions had soured fast. Li Yaching was so deep in her performance she didn't notice anything was wrong. Pei Tianming stared at her like he was seeing a stranger. Wang Wanjuan snapped out of it first. She grabbed Li Yaching's arm. Every time Li Yaching lip-synced, she got completely lost in it. That was why fans always believed she was singing live, because she believed it herself. This time, she'd actually been singing, and she'd delivered the exact same performance. When reality crept back in, her voice died in her throat. She saw the strange looks on the fans' faces. She saw Pei Tianming's eyes. Her stomach dropped. Oh no, what do I do now? Wang Wanjuan pieced it together instantly and jumped into damage control. Yaching's been sick the past few days. Her throat's in rough shape, so she wasn't at her best tonight. Don't hold it against her, keep supporting her. Li Yaching grabbed the opening like a drowning woman. She coughed hard, twice, and pressed a hand to her chest. I'm so sorry I let you all down. I didn't want to sing tonight because I wasn't feeling well, but I pushed through anyway and gave you a terrible experience. I'm truly, deeply sorry. She bent at the waist into a full 90-degree bow. The gesture swayed a lot of die-hard fans. See? I told you Yachting Baby only sounded off because she's sick. The haters are shameless. She forced herself to sing for her fans even when she wasn't well. That breaks my heart. Yachting baby, don't be scared. We've got your back forever. Across the room, in a smaller booth tucked out of sight, Xiao Yuan watched the broadcast on his phone and cursed, "Are these people brain dead? They're actually out here rehabilitating her image?" And Xioli kept her eyes on the screen, watching Li Yaqing's fake remorse play out in high definition. She let out a cold laugh. She can't be rehabilitated now. Time for the last chess piece. Xiao Yuan cracked his knuckles on it. He pulled out his phone and dialed, "You're up." Li Yaqing could feel the birthday party turning against her. She pressed her fingers to her temple and turned to Pei Tianming. "Tianming, I really don't feel well, maybe we should go." Pei Tianming's expression was unreadable. He didn't want to stay either. He nodded. "Yeah. Let's head out." Then a voice cut through the noise from somewhere in the room. "Someone lights the fireworks, someone chases the twilight wind, steal a breath of borrowed time, hold a piece of the starry sky." Everyone froze. Someone shouted, "That's Yachting baby's voice. No music, and it sounds flawless. Now that's a heavenly voice." "But Yaching isn't singing right now." Li Yaqing's face drained of color. "She's here." Panic spiked through her chest. She grabbed Pei Tianming's arm. "Tianming, I really need to go now." Pei Tianming finally understood exactly what was happening. He looked at her, his expression complicated, and said nothing. Before they could move, the booth door swung open. A girl walked in wearing a white t-shirt and jeans, her hair pulled back in a ponytail. Her face completely bared, no makeup, no filter, just her voice filling the room. Every fan stared, dumbstruck. Her voice was a perfect match for Li Yaqing's, which meant Li Yaqing had been lip-syncing the whole damn time. And Choo-Choo practically fled her own birthday party. Her superfans and fansite admins surrounded her, shouting over each other, demanding answers, but the evidence was already everywhere. What was she supposed to say? Bodyguards formed a wall, holding back the furious crowd. Pei Tianqi and Jiang Yang moved in tight, one on each side, and steered her toward the exit. As they passed the front desk, the receptionist stepped forward with a smile polished to perfection. "Your total tonight comes to 32 million. Will that be on a card?" 32 million? Jiang Yang's face went white. "Why don't you just hold us up at gunpoint?" The receptionist's smile didn't flicker. "All of our ingredients are top grade. Any guest who has dined here can confirm that. And your event had over 50 guests. Jiang Yang wasn't letting it go. "Show me the itemized bill." The receptionist printed a receipt and slid it across the counter. Jiang Yang's eyes swept the charges, and she jabbed a finger at over a dozen line items. "We never ordered these dishes." The receptionist kept her smile. "Those were for our eldest miss. This gentleman informed us that anything our eldest miss ordered would be added to your bill." She gestured lightly toward an Choo-Choo. Choo-Choo nearly choked on the rage boiling up her throat. Ruoxi. "You planned this. She owns this entire restaurant, and she has the audacity to bill me, and she ordered over a dozen dishes. How is she not dead from overeating?" Pei Tianqi's jaw tightened. He pulled out a black card and set it on the counter. "Run it." The receptionist accepted the card with both hands, processed the charge, and added in a honey-sweet tone, We'd love to have you dine with us again. Jiang Yang shot her a glare. This place is a total scam. I hope it's shuttered by morning. Pei Tianqi guided and Choo-Choo into the car. She raised her eyes to his, tears welling up. Tianqi, I feel so sick. Can you take me home? He couldn't stomach it. Quietly, he said, I have something I need to handle. Head home on your own, all right? He shut the door and signaled the driver to go. Choo-Choo watched him walk off, her face twisted, ugly and venomous. The second he turned away, she slammed her fist against her thigh. Who keeps coming after me? Now the engagement to Pei Tianqi was delayed again. God knows how much longer she'd have to wait. Inside the Bentley, Li Feng caught sight of Choo-Choo being helped out by Pei Tianqi and Jiang Yang. His brow furrowed. What the hell happened? She looked like she'd just crawled through a battlefield. Then his phone exploded with notifications. He opened them and froze. Oh shit, President Xiao, Choo-Choo's scandal is going nuclear. Xiao Yuan pulled out his phone and opened the trending page. Her name dominated every top spot. Choo-Choo lip syncing. Explosive Choo-Choo fake queen. Explosive Choo-Choo birthday party live lip sync. Explosive and group stock plummet. Trending. Xiao Yuan's eyebrow lifted. A dark, quiet laugh escaped him. Little one. You really don't pull your punches. As he scrolled, an incoming call cut across the screen. He answered. President Xiao, we've identified the person behind the hit at night tune. The amusement vanished. Xiao Yuan's expression snapped cold, murderous. He ended the call and gave the order. Turn around, back to Taiping Mountain. At Tianhuan Royal Banquet, a server led the young woman who had sung for Choo-Choo into a private booth. The moment she saw Ruoxi, her face lit up. Teacher. Ruoxi smiled. You did beautifully out there. The girl's eyes scrunched up. Only because you trained me so well. After returning to Imperial City and seeing that Choo-Choo had somehow become a famous singer, Ruoxi had been suspicious from the start. Her mother had been a true vocal legend in her era, and Ruoxi had grown up steeped in music. Choo-Choo, though, tone-deaf from childhood. Always off-key, and she hated singing. She debuted in a girl group, where she could bury herself in the choreography and harmonies. Solo career? Not possible. A person born without pitch doesn't transform into a powerhouse through training alone. Ruoxi had it investigated, and just as she suspected, she uncovered the lip-syncing. Choo-Choo had always been a show off, desperate for the spotlight, but faking an entire career. That was a new low. The real voice behind her was a girl named Wen Shu. When Ruoxi tracked her down, she proposed a partnership and pointed out the flaws in Wen Shu's technique. After a few lessons, Wen Shu helped Choo-Choo snatch the title of Queen of Pop. In gratitude, Wen Shu insisted on calling Ruoxi teacher. Now Ruoxi said, my people will protect you in the coming days. I'll find you an entertainment company to sign with all the heat from Choo-Choo's scandal, your name is about to explode. Wen Shu's eyes glistened. Thank you, teacher. Once I make it, I'll repay everything. Ruoxi smiled. All right. When Shu left with Ruoxi's people, Ruoxi checked the time, still a little before 6. She turned to Xiao Liu. Take me to Dr. Jin's lab. Xiao Liu grinned. On it. They walked side by side to the parking lot. Xiao Liu said, "You're due for your antidote shot soon." And Ruoxi only nodded. He knew these visits wore on her, so he didn't push. He just drove. On the way, and Ruoxi stopped to buy 2 bouquets of sunflowers at the lab. She pressed her eye to the iris scanner. The outer security door clicked open. They passed through 2 more heavy reinforced doors before entering the research wing. Xiao Liu hammered on a door with his fist. "Old Jin, open up, we're here." A man in his 60s emerged, white lab coat, hairline retreating, a small paunch above his belt. He tugged off his goggles and gloves, squinting at them with a warm smile. "Well, look who it is, big money and little six." And Ruoxi asked, "How are my brother and sister-in-law doing?" Dr. Jin sighed. "Same as always." And Ruoxi didn't answer. She carried the flowers down the hallway. Dr. Jin clapped Xiao Liu on the shoulder. "6, you've put on some muscle since I last saw you." But Xiao Liu's smile dropped. His gaze followed Ruoxi until she disappeared around the corner. He turned back, frowning. "Old Jin, is your medical skill even worth a damn? It's been this long, and they're still not getting better." Dr. Jin smacked him on the head. "You think I'm some kind of miracle worker? Keeping them breathing this long took everything I've got." Xiao Liu rubbed the sore spot. His eyes stayed on the empty corridor. "I just think the boss carries too much." Dr. Jin looked down the hall too. He exhaled slowly. "As long as they're still breathing, there's still hope." The room had been designed to feel warm and inviting. Soft blue curtains, floral bedding, stuffed animals lined the windowsill, and a family portrait of 4 sat on the shelf. A few sunflowers drooped in a glass vase on the nightstand, already wilted. Ruoxi tossed the old flowers, refilled the vase with fresh water, and arranged a new bunch. Her brother and Baiqian lay motionless in the hospital bed. Years ago, a truck had slammed into their car. The brakes failed. There was no escape. Their father had rammed the truck head-on, using the front cabin as a shield to protect Ruoxi and Baiqian in the back seat. And Baiqian had wrapped himself around her, shielding her body with his own. He'd even braced his left elbow against the seat in front to create a pocket of space. Terrified the impact would crush her. Their parents died on impact. Her brother suffered severe head trauma and slipped into a coma. Only Ruoxi walked away with minor injuries when the rescuers pulled Baiqian out. His left arm, the one he'd used to protect her, was broken clean through, bone exposed. Ruoxi walked over and sat on the edge of the bed. She took his hand, pressed it to her cheek, and rubbed against his palm affectionately. "Brother, I came to see you. Are you happy?" And Baiqian lay still beneath his oxygen mask, no sign of life except for faint condensation on the plastic. Otherwise, he could have been dead. She was used to his silence. Gently, she brushed the hair from his forehead. "Brother, today I exposed Chuchu's lip syncing. The whole internet is tearing her apart. She lost over 1 million followers in an hour, and it's still dropping. And group stock tanked. Pretty impressive, right? Oh, and I opened 8 stores in Imperial City in 6 months, made over 100 million this month. I'm putting it all toward Dr. Jin's research. You and sister-in-law are going to get better." I can earn money now. I can take care of myself. Don't worry about me. As for Shangxing's family, I'll make them pay. Brother, she leaned over the headboard, chattering non-stop for half an hour, then her voice cracked. Tears pricked her eyes. Brother, why won't you talk to me? I'm crying. Get up and comfort me, okay? She pressed his hand tight against her cheek. Hot tears splashed onto his arm, scattering into tiny droplets. Brother, I lied. I'm not okay at all without Mom, Dad, and you protecting me. I'm barely holding on. It's so hard. Her cheeks still wet, she curled up beside him and gradually drifted off to sleep. A Tithian residence. A teacup smashed against the floor with a deafening crack. Shangxing pointed a trembling finger at Chu, his face twisted with rage. It was just a birthday party. How could you mess up this badly? Chu sat slumped on the sofa, sobbing into Zhao Qingji's arms. Zhao Qingji shot her husband a sharp glare. Do you think Chu wanted this to happen? Right now, the most important thing is damage control. The veins on Shangxing's forehead bulged. Damage control. Her reputation is already ruined. I was counting on her marriage into the Pei family to help the company now. Why would Pei Tianqi want her after this? At the mention of her daughter's marriage prospects, Zhao Qingji panicked. What do we do? Maybe we can explain the situation to the Peis. Explain what? Shangxing barked. The stand-in singer already came forward. The whole internet knows. Explaining will only make it worse. Zhao Qingji's voice turned desperate. Honey, Chu's marriage is the future of the family. You have to find a way to save it. Shangxing's fury began to cool. He turned to Chu with a hard stare. That girl Wen Shu, weren't you supposed to keep an eye on her? How dare she cross us? Chu's eyes were swollen from crying. I don't know, I panicked. By the time I realized what was happening, she was gone. She looked up at him, pleading, Dad, I think someone set me up. This feels too calculated. Shangxing frowned. She had a point. But who would dare move against the family? Have you made enemies in the entertainment industry lately? Chu thought for a moment, then shrieked, It's Ruoxi, that bitch must have done it. Ruoxi. Shangxing and Zhao Qingji exchanged confused looks. Zhao Qingji said, I thought she was dead. She disappeared 4 years ago. Chu shook her head frantically. No, she's alive, and she's the owner of Tianhuan Royal Banquet. That's where my birthday party was. Someone set me up there. It has to be her. Shangxing's jaw tightened. It all clicked. She'd vanished without a trace years ago. He'd assumed she'd died somewhere, but the little bitch had survived and come back. Chu saw his silence and pressed, Dad, what do we do now? She's back for revenge. Revenge? Shangxing sneered, I killed Shengnan with my own hands. You think I'm scared of a useless little rich girl? Don't be ridiculous. Chu's panic eased. Right, she was the heiress of the Mightian group. Ruoxi was nothing but a fallen princess. What could she possibly do? She'd been freaking out over nothing. Shangxing's voice turned cold and businesslike. I already have the PR team handling the trending topics. You focus on keeping Pei Tianqi happy. That marriage cannot fall through. Chu nodded, composure returning. I know exactly what to tell him. The engagement is safe. Good. Shangxing turned and climbed the stairs. In his study, he locked the door and dialed a number. And Shungnan's daughter is back. She's the one behind my daughter's scandal. A heavy silence filled the line. I'm just reminding you, you were the mastermind behind Shungnan's death. Another beat of silence. Ain't nobody like her. I'm not worried, but if the truth comes out, it won't be good for either of us. The silence stretched. Relaxed. I'll take care of her soon, but eliminating such a big threat, it'll cost you. I want the land you just acquired. A final pause, then a thin smile curved his lips. Pleasure doing business. And Ruoxi had dozed off beside Baiqian's bed when she opened her eyes. Over an hour had passed. Tears still clung to her lashes. She sniffled, wiped them away, and stood forcing a faint smile. She said, "Brother, I'm going to check on my sister-in-law. I'll come see you again soon." She turned and walked to the door. At the threshold, she paused and looked back one last time before closing it behind her. From Baiqian's room, she moved to the one next door. A padlock hung from the door, the key still in place. Ruoxi turned the key and pushed it open. Her brother's room had a warm, homey feel. This room was nothing but sterile white windows. Even the walls and door were padded with rubber. A large mattress sat against one wall. A woman with a thin back stared vacantly at the rubber surface, lost in thought. Ruoxi's throat tightened. She stepped inside quietly. Ning. The woman didn't react. She just tilted her head slightly, still staring at the padded wall. Ruoxi walked over slowly and sat down beside her. Gently, she touched the woman's arm. Her voice came out soft. "Ning, it's 11:11. At the sound of 11:11, the woman finally stirred. She turned to face Ruoxi. Her eyes were hollow, her face pale and haggard, but you could still make out traces of the gentle, beautiful woman she used to be. 11:11. She breathed the two syllables without any real awareness. Ruoxi's eyes brimmed. She smiled and nodded. "Yes, I'm 11:11, 11:11, the woman repeated. Then, as if something triggered her, terror flooded her expression. She thrashed wildly, screaming, 11:11, run, they're coming for you. 11:11, don't look back, run." Over and over, the same words, telling 11:11 to a UN. Ruoxi's tears finally broke. She lunged forward and wrapped her arms around the woman, holding tight. "Ning, I'm fine. I got away. I'm okay really. I'm okay." She held her for several minutes until the woman slowly calmed. A bit of clarity returned to Jiang Ning's gaze. She cupped Ruoxi's face, smiling gently. "Be good, 11:11, I'll make you strawberry cake." And Ruoxi choked back a sob and hugged her tighter. "Okay, I want the strawberry cake you make, Ning, it's the best cake in the world." The woman was Jiang Ning, the eldest daughter of the Jiang family. Jiang Yang's older sister Baiqian and Jiang Ning had been together since college. They'd never had a formal engagement, but Ruoxi had always thought of her as her sister-in-law. After the car crash, Baiqian was rushed to the hospital. Jiang Ning was the only one who showed up, and she sensed the accident wasn't random. Once Baiqian's condition stabilized enough to move him, she arranged for him to be transferred somewhere safe. Meanwhile, Ruoxi remained in Imperial City, letting everyone believe she was the last and standing. After she reached out to Pei Tianqi and got a squad of mercenaries instead of help, Jiang Ning decided it wasn't safe for her to stay either. She planned to send her away. But the night Ruoxi tried to escape, someone leaked the plan. They came for her. To by an Ruoxi time. Jiang Ning disguised herself as an Ruoxi and led the pursuers away that night. An Ruoxi got out clean, but Jiang Ning was locked up by her own family. Jiang Ning's mother died early. Jiang Yang was the daughter of their father and his second wife. Jiang Yang had always resented that Jiang Ning would marry into the Yin group. She made her life hell at every turn, but with the Yin family's power, she didn't dare to openly harm her. Once the Yin family fell, Jiang Yang finally had her chance. They locked Jiang Ning in a mental institution and put her through unimaginable torment. And Ruoxi only found out after returning to Imperial City what the Jiang family had done, how cruelly they'd made Jiang Ning suffer. She did everything she could to get Jiang Ning out and brought in Dr. Jin to treat her. But the beatings and the drugs had permanently damaged Jiang Ning's brain. She had episodes of madness, of self-harm. Full recovery was nearly impossible. Dr. Jin could only use medication to ease her symptoms and lessen her pain. An Ruoxi helped Jiang Ning wash her hair and take a bath. She dressed her in clean, comfortable clothes and blow-dried her hair. Jiang Ning seemed happy. She played with the fallen strands and hummed a soft tune. An Ruoxi recognized the song, the one Jiang Ning and An Baiqian had sung together at their graduation party. She combed Jiang Ning's hair gently as she spoke. Ning, don't worry, the people who hurt you, I'll make them pay 10 times, 100 times over. I've given Dr. Jin a lot of money. He'll find a way to cure you. When my brother wakes up, you two can be together again. And Ruoxi said these words as much to herself as to Jiang Ning. After leaving Jiang Ning's room, she went to find Dr. Jin. He took one look at her swollen eyes and knew she'd been crying again. He tried to comfort her. I've been developing a new drug that suppresses Jiang Ning's symptoms well. Aside from being out of it mentally, she eats and sleeps fine. She's not in pain. You don't need to worry so much. And Ruoxi smiled gratefully. Thank you, Dr. Jin. He patted her shoulder, his laugh easy. What's there to thank me for? I'm getting paid. You're the most generous client I've ever had. I've done pretty well myself. And Ruoxi smiled but said nothing. She knew he was just trying to make her feel better. The money she'd given him after buying equipment, funding research, and sourcing rare medicinal ingredients, there wasn't much left. She patted his shoulder too. Don't worry. I'll give you even more in the future. Just then, Xiao Liu walked over. He pressed a cotton swab to his arm and said, Boss, it's time for the antidote injection. And Ruoxi nodded and headed to the injection room. After escaping Imperial City, she'd been taken in by the head of an assassin organization and brought to Tsangming province. Before training their killers, the organization injected them with a serum. The serum rewired the brain, making you razor-sharp. It also enhanced physical abilities, speed, agility, combat power, but the effect varied from person to person. An Ruoxi had the most dramatic response ever recorded. The serum made you stronger, but it had a fatal flaw. Every month, you needed an antidote injection. Without it, the bones of anyone who'd taken the serum would feel like they were being crushed. The pain was unbearable. The organization's leader had used this serum to create and control his killers, forcing them to do things they never wanted. After An Ruoxi took down the leader, The responsibility of making the antidote fell to Jin, so Dr. Jin wasn't just treating An Baiqian and Jiang Ning, he was also making antidotes for over 20 assassins, and An Ruoxi had tasked him with one more thing: develop a permanent cure. The money she'd given him was barely enough to cover expenses, there was no profit, she needed to find a way to earn more that would speed up Dr. Jin's research.